Cool. Because we already started.
Oh, we did?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Film Trigger Podcast, or Full Frontal Nerdity, whichever one of these entities that I keep making up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with Full Frontal Nerdity.
I like that one.
Yeah, I think the Film Trigger Podcast concept went over to my Studio 47, where I just kind of talk.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I do have another YouTube channel called Studio 47 Presents, and actually I have a playlist on Film Trigger. You can go listen to all the podcasts that I've had on that channel, and all the. I mean, there's years and years of videos on there from musicians and just interviews with people back in the day. Like it's a whole collective bag of just like my music side of shit. But anyway, now it's just full of podcasts. So I think I'm going to retire the Film Trigger Podcast and just have Full Frontal Nerdity completely on here. It makes more sense.
It does.
So we've had one exciting week.
There's a lot to talk about here. And I mean a lot, from like so many different parts of like media. You know, we're gonna jump from Marvel to DC to Mortal Kombat here. Like there's maybe even dive into some Star Wars stuff. There's a lot to talk about here. So,
but the most exciting news, or not even news, but most exciting event of the week.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we got the Snyder Cut trailer. We got the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know, something that we fought for, we're told didn't exist years ago. You know, we're all just madmen, but, you know, who's laughing now? Who's the crazy one now? That's my old man crazy impression. But, yeah, so we actually got the trailer for it. Like the full-on trailer. What did you think?
I thought it was a great trailer. I'm just going to say it. I don't want to say a really good trailer. It was a great trailer. It gave me exactly what I wanted to see. And I don't... Like, if this was like a 2-hour movie, I'd say, okay, if maybe they're showing us too much. But like you said, the movie's 4 hours long.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, and we've only seen the equivalent of about 1/8 of the movie. Like,
yeah.
I would say that's including what's in the Justice League, plus what is in these trailers. We've only seen about 1/8 of this movie.
Yeah, someone did math on it, and I think there's about 3.5 hours of unseen footage in total in this movie.
Wow.
So it's going to be quite a ride. It's crazy to think that all these years of asking for the Snyder Cut, we can say that we are now less than 1 month away from it actually coming out.
I want to watch the trailer real quick.
All right.
Do you want to watch it?
Sure.
Now, you guys won't be able to see it here. You'll be able to hear it, which we might get a copyright thing, but we can pause it and stuff. So
yeah.
Hold on.
You want me to just yell pause whenever? No, because there's some stuff I want to talk about in this trailer.
Yeah, we can do that. Let me get it up on the big screen here.
All right.
Oh, and then there's this whole Imax Ratio that people, I'm not mentioning any names, Cody Leach, are freaking out about. Because they're like, I don't want a big fucking square on my TV. It's like, okay, I get that concept, but you don't want a big square because you feel like you're losing picture, but you're actually gaining way more, visual in this ratio.
I completely understand why people feel like we're losing picture, and I get it. Like first glance, it looks like you're losing picture.
Yeah.
But the reality is you're not. You're getting a lot more. So
yeah, you're getting a lot more for sure. And it's funny because Cody Leach put a survey on his YouTube channel, and he's just like, okay, so who's bothered by this ratio? You like it, you love it, you hate it, or you don't care. And the majority of the people did not give a shit. And I kind of gave him a little shout out on Facebook and mentioned it, and he says, "Man, that shit was rigged." I told him, I said, just because I created 300 Phantom channels and voted does not mean it was rigged. But yeah. Oh, speaking of Snyder Cut and Cody Leach, me, Cody Leach, Brian Lomax, and Christopher Durbin on Durbin's channel, Durbania, will have a pre-game Snyder Cut talk about the, everything about Man of Steel's story leading up to the Snyder Cut and what happened with Justice League. I know that shit's been beaten into the ground, but you never heard us talk about it. So we're going to talk about it.
I'm excited for that.
Well, you're invited. The invite's still open for you to join on this end. We have 2 microphones. We'll
see what happens.
We can make it happen.
We'll see what happens.
All right. So we're going to do a little breakdown of this Snyder Cut trailer, I guess. Kind of a breakdown. See what happens. First of all, that scream. Like, I get it. It's the bell. That's the bell that was rung. But this right here. That's so haunting. Oh, I didn't get chills. Now, this music already is so good. Like, listen, as much as big excitement as I have for the Snyder Cut and all this stuff, I'm going to tell you, these teaser trailers with the hallelujah, they just don't hit home for me. Like, I love the stuff that's in it, but the music it didn't do it.
I understand.
This does it.
We'll get to that later in the trailer.
Okay. All right. God, he sounds so much better.
He looks so much better.
Yeah. Oh, that right there. I'm going to pause it right here. What I'm pausing it on is... Oh, perfect. Okay, so this is Cyborg, and he's obviously... this looks like he's in the dream sequence here, doesn't it?
Yes. I have some theories about the nightmare in this movie.
Oh, the nightmares. Yeah, the nightmare sequence. I just wanted to pause it because at first glance, this gun that's attached to him, is that like external? Is that part of him? Like, it doesn't look like it's part of him.
I have a theory about this specific shot.
Okay, go for it.
I think they're pulling a move that you'll often see Marvel do in their trailers, is where they'll do fake outs. Sometimes it's just misleading shots. Sometimes they'll do full-on CGI fake outs, like Hulk in Infinity War. I think that's what we're seeing here. I don't think he looks like that in that scene. I do not think he looks like that whatsoever. Because
what do you mean looks like that? Looks like what?
Because in this shot, he looks like Cyborg, like the regular Cyborg from the rest of the movie.
Right.
But there was photos of the suit from what was going to be Justice League 2 and 3, and he had 4 arms. He had, his regular 2 arms, and then he had 2 arms on his back that stretched out. And he had a full face cover
in this shot, in the nightmare sequence shot.
And that was supposed to be for Justice League 2 and 3. We know, though, that he did reshoot, or I don't want to call them reshoots, additional photography a few months ago. And I'm assuming, we don't know for sure, but I'm assuming this is from that. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if he's supposed to have that forearm look in this shot.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I honestly do not know. I don't know anything about the forearm thing. Only reason why I wanted to stop it is, number one, just to double check to make sure it was in the nightmare sequence, because I had never actually done a shot by shot,
Yeah.
like look at this. But secondly, the gun looks like previs.
It does.
When I saw it in the trailer, like I looked at the gun, I'm like, I kept going back. I never paused it. I just kept going back and looking at the quick glimpse that they would give us. And I was like, that gun looks fake. But now that you say that, I could see possibly maybe that you could be right. That could be a fake out. But I don't see Snyder doing a fake out. Like to me, it just seems like, why would you show us something else that's not going to be in a movie? Like,
I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just embarrassing myself here. But
did you hear that somewhere or read that somewhere? Is that the theory you said?
Yes, I've heard that somewhere, and I completely agree with it. I mean, to me, it makes sense that that's something they would do.
All right. You ready to watch the rest of this? Or?
Yes. Here you go. Here is the four-armed cyborg.
Creepy.
And I'm assuming that's what he's supposed to look like in this scene. But like I've said, we don't know for sure. But we'll see in less than a month.
Yeah, 1 week after my birthday. Do the day.
Yeah. All right, you can play the trailer.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, don't wave the red cape at it. You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes...
The Flash. This whole thing. Now, this made it into the original trailer.
It did. Yes.
Where he's saving what's her name?
Iris.
And
that's crazy to think, because Iris isn't in the theatrical cut at all.
No, not even a little bit.
Like,
I can't wait to see and just be like, wow, I can't believe they cut all this shit out.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, heck, there's so many shots between then and now, like, that we haven't seen. But I did notice one specific shot that we did see. And that was like the Superman. Let me see. On the Superman on the bridge, the logo.
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Let me see here. Oh. Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Yeah, that was in the beginning.
Yeah, I was
of
gonna
Justice League.
Because I thought that when I watched the trailer. Isn't that the shot where it says directed by Zack Snyder?
Yeah, did they mean that one specific frame? This shot right here was directed by Zack Snyder.
But I watched the trailer and I was like, that's the shot from the opening scene, or the opening credits from Justice League.
Yep. Well, all right. So, there's one part we've already seen. Now, that didn't happen in Justice League, did it? I can't remember where the picture of Jonathan Kent fell into the goop.
No, they were in there in one scene and out immediately.
I want to go back to that because who's lowering him in there? Can we see that?
I cannot tell. I don't think we'll be able to see it.
Because I remember one thing that I heard. And that was that Steppenwolf is the one who brought Superman alive.
I've heard that too.
Man. I wonder if we can... I can't find it now. Did I wait? Am I way past it?
I think so, yeah. I think it's before that shot. I think it's right after that one. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I can't.
You
I can't
cannot tell who's.
I mean, there's an arm lowering him, but
If it is Steppenwolf, then I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Man, it just skips right over that.
Yeah.
So you can see whatever that is right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can't tell. I don't know. That didn't look human now that I looked at it.
Yeah. Part of me hopes it is Steppenwolf.
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. See, I'm halfway through this trailer and I've already stopped paying attention to the fact that it's square. And that suit, the black suit, looks so good.
It does, especially knowing that it's CGI. Like, it looks great.
Yeah. Well, it's not CGI. I mean,
Well, the
it's
suit
color
isn't,
corrected.
but yeah.
But I remember when they released that first clip of the black suit and the cape looked gray.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like that. The cape looks straight black now.
Yeah.
But when I first saw that gray cape, I'm like, is that the best decision, Zach? Sure you want to do that? And I was thinking like maybe it was just the only way. Well, it's the only thing we can do, you know. But no, now that cape is black.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the suits.
He said the age of heroes would never come again.
And that color looks so much better.
That shot of Superman, the one where he flies the screen, starts with the lasers, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite shot
we've
seen so far.
It's on all the thumbnails. It's on my thumbnail for the trailer reaction. Yeah.
Oh, he looks so cool.
The thing is, where is he there?
I just assumed he was in the ship.
Yeah.
I just assumed this was like the final battle.
The final battle.
Or somewhere around.
See, I thought, like, when he first walks out in the black suit, I thought it was like a mimic of Man of Steel when he first walks out in the colored suit.
Yeah.
You know, on that ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the final battle, it doesn't take place on that ship that we know of.
No, not that ship. I'm talking about Steppenwolf's ship.
See, but the thing is, I think he might be on his own ship here.
Well, then what could he be fighting?
I don't know. Maybe Steppenwolf's the one that brought him back.
Oh yeah.
Am I too far fetched?
No, I'm just. There's so many.
Because it looks like that same like area where, you know, the ship opened up and you see right before the first flight, you know, that shot is mirrored in this scene, and that looks like that's where he's at. I could be completely wrong. This could be on the Steppenwolf ship, but he looks pissed. I'm just saying, he looks like he's ready to whoop some ass, but not like and I believe in hope, you know, in the American way, sort of, you know, ass whooping. Yeah, that looks so cool. God, look at the detail from that IMAX film, and that cape, black as it could be. That's such a good choice. We got it. There it is. Sorry. We're
just
geeking out here.
sitting here admiring Superman's black suit.
Yep.
I know what you're trying to get, though. The music there, it's so bone chilling to me. Like, it's just eerie. It's got an eerie feeling to it, and I love it.
It's very haunting. Yeah, for sure. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Max original. Warner Brothers over here like, no.
What honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
Do you think that's his only cameo?
Yes.
Do you think it's this short? Do you think there's an extended, like... Okay, let me rewind here.
All right.
Do you think the nightmare sequence itself is a nightmare?
In this movie, no. And if there is a nightmare scene, I still think either way, it will become a reality by the end of the movie.
Right.
And if I had to guess, because Deborah Snyder just said, I think yesterday or the day before, that they only filmed one scene. And Jared Leto was part of those shoots. He never filmed anything before that. So that means that if they filmed one scene, that means that everything they filmed is nightmare stuff. And they've said everything they shot is only going to add 4 or 5 minutes of footage, which is fine. But it's just...
Thanks for your permission, son. That's fine, Deborah. I'll allow it.
But they just... So everything they shot is for this nightmare scene. If I had to take a guess, this is the very end of the movie when it becomes a reality. That's just my guess. Who knows? It could still be a dream. Who knows? But
this is going to be the cliffhanger.
I feel like
the new cliffhanger.
Yeah.
To kind of lead into, what could be the Snyderverse.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be that specific shot or anything that's like the last shot, but I think this is the last scene of the movie.
I mean, hopefully this nightmare sequence is reality,
Yeah.
because that'd be kind of weird to have another sequence nightmare, okay, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Joker is there, remember what I've always told you about the nightmare sequence before? The school buses. I said, this has Joker written all over it.
Yes.
I've said that. I said this, the school buses alone, they scream Joker is around. And this is, I called it. I'm hoping I'm on the right page with my way of thinking,
Yeah. I think just the whole idea behind this scene though is really cool. And it's because Zack said, he doesn't know if he's going to get to do Justice League 2 and 3. And so he says because he didn't know if he's going to do that, he wants to use this opportunity he has to give fans of this Snyderverse what they've wanted for the past few years, and that's a one-on-one interaction with Ben Affleck Batman and Jared Leto Joker. And I think that's really cool. That's a really cool thing of him to do.
He looks good.
He does.
Does not have damage tattoo on his forehead.
He doesn't have any tattoos. I like the long hair. I know I've seen people say, he shouldn't have long hair. It's a copy of Heath Ledger, which I think is kind of ridiculous.
They're all playing the same character.
It's all Joker, but
I mean, if anything's a copy of Heath Ledger, it's definitely Joaquin Phoenix more so than this.
Either way, though, I don't think it's a copy of Heath Ledger's Joker. I mean, Joker's had long hair a lot,
not even a little bit.
And who cares if it is supposed to be like a rip-off of Heath Ledger? I don't think it is, but
there's nothing ripping off Heath Ledger here.
But
I don't see a thing ripping off Heath Ledger.
I don't see it either, but I'm just pointing out what people have said.
Well, you know what? Heath Ledger in that movie did play Joker. And he's playing Joker. Oh my God, it was in our face, front of our faces all along.
That's an interesting theory, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that's stretching a little bit.
All right, so that's I think that's it. Yep. Streaming March 18th.
Also, something I thought was kind of funny is he says we live in a society, because that became a meme for some reason, because people were like, it was when the Joker movie came out, people turned "we live in a society," the quote, into a meme, even though Joaquin Phoenix Joker never even said it. And now he's said it. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny that they threw that in there.
I don't know what meme you're talking about. So.
It was just literally people memed the quote, "we live in a society." It's as simple as that.
Oh, okay. Well, we do. Do people think that was like the end of it? Like, that's all he said? I saw somebody on Twitter, I think it was Lantern 2014. He was yelling, like, kind of bitching, like, okay, everyone, the trailer doesn't end after he says we live in a society.
Right.
like people, is that a thing? I don't know. I
haven't heard anything
I don't know
about
what you're talking about with the memes. So anyway, yes, March 18th is the day we're gonna get it, and it's all coming out as one. Remember when it was theorized as going to come out as a different, like, as a
that
series?
Wasn't even theorized. That was straight up said by Zack Snyder, and that's why I thought it was odd, because they went back to it just being a movie.
Good.
Because I remember at DC Fandom back in August, he said that it would be released as a 4-episode series, and then he said it would be released as both. It's a 4-episode series and then a movie, but now he's saying it's just a movie. So I guess they backtracked on that, which, I mean, it's fine.
Better for me. Like, I was not happy with it being a series at all. I was not excited for that. Remember, I told you I thought I was just going to wait for all episodes to show, and then I would watch it as one.
Yeah.
Which would have sucked, but, like, to me, we've been waiting all this time, and now you're going to make me wait 3 more times for the next episode. No, give us the fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's like giving us a crumb trail, and I just, no, it just didn't seem right to me. Not with this. Not with this movie. It didn't seem, give us the whole fucking thing. And give us, I want a digital copy. I want a hard copy. I want a box set with all 3 movies.
I think there will be a Blu-ray release. I saw an article a while ago that had it listed for a Blu-ray release. And I hope there is like a giant 4K box set with all 3 movies. Like, you get your 4K, then your Blu-ray, digital code maybe, if they want to throw that in there. And I hope it comes in a mother box. I don't know why. That would be cool.
I don't know why it wouldn't. I don't know why it wouldn't come in a mother box. It's a box set.
Yeah. Well, they have that Snyder Cut.
It's the mother of all box sets.
They have that Snyder Cut meal, which is coming in a box, or in a mother box, which is weird to me that you can order a Snyder Cut meal.
Yeah.
But
have some Snyder snackies. So, okay, but yeah, I mean, the first episode, or our first video that we ever put up on this channel,
yes,
we had hashtag releases Snyder Cut flashing on the screen.
That was back in July of 2018.
Yeah,
not even a year after Justice League came out.
No, yeah, not even a year. Like, we had it flashing on the screen. Like, that's been this channel the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's just, we're here. I'm excited about it. Like, ever since it's been announced, I haven't done anything Snyder on the YouTube channel. Like, I haven't followed, like, most of the stuff. I've been paying attention to it, but I haven't been, like, retweeting all that much. I haven't been talking much about it because we got it. We got what we wanted. And now I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it and let my channel be the other things this channel is,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be put in a pigeonhole with the Snyder Cut stuff, even though we were. Like, when we were fighting for it, we were there. We were there doing our thing, our part. But, yeah.
I hope that it gets continued on HBO Max, Justice League 2 and 3. But we don't know that for sure. So if it doesn't happen, I still hope they continue it somehow, like in comic form. I'd be down with that if they wanted to make Justice League 2 and 3, turn it into a comic book.
Nah, yeah, that's where you'd lose me. I wouldn't pay attention to it.
I would.
I don't read comic books. I like movies. I like cinema, and that's the medium that I've grown to love these characters. And all their different movies. And
yeah, I'd much rather have it, be a movie, be live action. But if comics what we can get, then I'll take it.
I mean, if you get it, I might take a look at yours. But I'm not gonna, like. Honestly, all I'm gonna do is sit there and read it and wish it was a movie. I was going to wish it was a movie, and that was it. Oh, this would have been cool on screen. Oh, that would have been neat on screen. Boy, I would like to hear Ben Affleck say that. That's all I'm gonna do reading it.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, if anything good comes out of it, maybe they can put it in comic book form and use that money to help, fund or pay part of, to make the movie. I
don't think funding the movie is necessarily the problem here. It's just
That's always the problem.
Everyone's kind of moved on. Not like everyone, but like, you know, Zach has other movies coming out.
Funding the movie's always the problem. If you had the power and the money to fund any movie you ever wanted to get made, you know, and it's your money, that's that. Just make the fucking movie.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it happens, but if it doesn't, then that's okay, because to me, we're still getting the Snyder Cut. Not only are we getting the Snyder Cut, but it's a 4-hour Snyder Cut. And I think that alone is just...
Major success.
It's a major success. And to both HBO Max, which it will be a huge hit, I can guarantee it'll be one of, if not the biggest, like, streaming thing ever. Not only is it going to be a huge success financially for them, but it's also a huge win for just the fans, you know, who've been wanting this for nearly 4 years.
I mean, you sat here and you were about to say, you know, people are moving on.
Yes.
You know, and I don't disagree with you entirely. I mean, we've got the Batman coming out, you know, all these things moving forward, but we also still have, you know, a Flash movie coming out, you know, and like all these Snyderverse tie-ins that are also coming out. So have we really moved on? Or we're just carrying on stories, you know, that are spinning off of this, you know, but the Batman is going to be a big thing. It's going to be the first time we have, I might be wrong on this, but I feel like it's going to be the first time we're going to have two different universes not tied in with each other, you know, on about the same DC characters, you know.
Right.
You know, let's say like the Flash comes out and the Batman comes out. You know, Batman are going to be in the Flash movie, but but this Batman's separate. Like now it's like comics in real life. You know, you just have different variations. So I think in a world like that, there's plenty of room for a Snyderverse. Why wouldn't there be?
Right.
That's the world we're going to live in. We're going to see in the next 5 years, theoretically, if they ever make this fucking Flash movie.
They started production a few days ago. I think it's finally happening.
Cyborg still not part of it?
Nope.
That's fucking crazy. That tells you how evil Warner Brothers is, how fucking petty they're being, how snide they're being.
We'll talk about that when we actually get to the Flash movie,
Right.
because there's a lot to talk about the Flash movie, surprisingly. Some new stuff that even came out today.
All right, so we'll get to that when we get to that. All right. But, you know, anyway, in the next few years, we're going to have 3 different Batmen on screen at near the same time.
Yeah.
We're going to have Ben Affleck returning in The Flash, Michael Keaton returning in The Flash as a primary character, and Pattinson as the Batman.
That's all coming next year.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. It's all 2022.
Yeah. And that's 3 different Batmen on screen going on the same year. So yeah, there's definitely room for a Snyderverse, especially as an HBO Max exclusive.
That's a good idea for them to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope one day we can not only continue the Snyderverse, but expand upon it, meaning like a Batman series with Ben Affleck, if he wanted to do it, would be really cool to see. And, you know, they could bring back Will Smith as Deadshot. I know people liked him. I liked him as Deadshot. They could bring him in there. You know, obviously Jared Leto, I'm sure they'd put him in there.
I do not like the idea of a Batfleck series. We got into this argument before on a podcast previously that we recorded, but I never put it out. And not for any other reason. I just didn't have time to edit it. That's back when I used to edit my podcast because I just wanted to edit out my stupid. But now I'm comfortable with my stupid, so I don't do that. But you and I got into an argument about, you know, should they make a Batfleck series, a series of, you know, Ben Affleck's Batman, and I was just so upset about it. I was like, no, that doesn't seem right to me. Now, if they bring out like a Ben Affleck Batman movie, on HBO Max, I'm down for that. Just like I wasn't down for the Snyder Cut being a series. Like, it just doesn't
I think that's
translate.
a completely different situation.
It just doesn't translate for me.
See, that's a completely different situation, though, in the sense that the Snyder Cut was filmed as a movie. It was meant to be a movie, and they tried to make it a series, and something happened, and now it's not. Ben Affleck's Batman...
You don't think WandaVision was... you don't think WandaVision wasn't shot like a movie?
That's not at all what I mean. That's not at all what I mean. I'm saying that Zack Snyder's Justice League was filmed to be a movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They were planning on releasing it as a movie. Not only did Ben Affleck's Batman never filmed. They never even started filming. And to me, a series, it's more. It's more movie, but like
less quality. That's the problem that I have with it.
I don't see the problem. I don't see less quality.
Well, you haven't seen
Same
it
budget. Give it the same budget. Maybe even bigger budget. If the Snyder Cut's successful enough, they'll know that a Batfleck series would be successful. Of course it would be successful. That's not going to fail.
I don't know, but they are bringing that Gotham series over to HBO Max, so there might be a conflict of interest there. But then again, Batman, I don't think Batman's going to be in that. Isn't it going to be like pretty much like the TV show Gotham, but with the Pattinson universe?
Kind of. It's going to be... It takes place like... Batman exists, but he's like a myth.
Yeah, but how long can you let that ride? Like, how many seasons?
I don't expect them to give it more than one, maybe two seasons.
Yeah.
If the whole idea of the show is just for it to be when he's a myth,
I mean,
then I don't see it going past one season. But if they decide,
I mean, he's supposed to be 2 years in the movie, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing like a 2-year, quote unquote, 2-season prequel.
Yeah, but let's say they decide they want to continue the journey of whoever we follow in that show after the Batman, then I don't see a problem with that if they want to do that. Who knows if they will? Maybe they won't, but I don't have a problem with that if they really want to do that.
What are the chances of getting a Pattinson in on these shows? Slim to none.
I'd say pretty likely. Maybe for a quick cameo. I see no reason.
But my point is that you wouldn't get him for more than a cameo every now and again. Same with Batfleck. I don't think you'd get him for more than a cameo in a show like that. Like, I don't see him being the lead of a show. He's a major motion picture actor, and streaming services that are not in a movie format, you're not having your A-lister star in these things.
Why?
Because they're not the same quality. I mean,
have you watched any of the trailers for the Marvel shows coming out? Any of the ones?
No, I haven't seen a single one.
They look like movie trailers. They look like movies. They're literally described as they're filmed the same way as movies. They have the same, if not a bigger budget, same quality. The only difference is there's more. It's longer.
I don't know.
Instead of 2 hours,
maybe you
get 6 hours.
Maybe I'm just a grumpy old man. And I'm shedding my ways. I want to watch it as a movie.
I'm down for a Batfleck series.
All right. So, okay. Well, Batfleck series, I'm not going to hold my breath for. Number one, I don't think it'll happen. Number two,
I don't think it'll happen. But if it does,
number two, I'll be very surprised if it does. I'll just put it that way. I'll be very surprised if it happens. I don't think it will. But so I think we beat the Snyder thing into the ground here.
There's one more small thing I wanted to mention.
Okay.
We know now that I mentioned this earlier, how the stuff they filmed earlier or a few months ago is only Nightmare stuff. And I just want to talk about who they actually brought back for this Nightmare specific stuff. Obviously, we know Batman, Joker, Deathstroke, and Cyborg. And they brought back Mira. They brought back Amber Heard a few months ago to film scenes for Mira in the Snyder Cut. And I'm not going to talk about any, stuff that goes on with that, but...
No, I don't know what do you have Do you have?
No bias here. Like I'm not going to talk
Oh,
about
you're not
whether
gonna talk about her drama.
I'm not going to talk
Okay.
about that. I'm
You're not
talking
gonna
specifically.
You're not going to talk about how the whole Johnny Depp. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to dive into any of that stuff. I just want to talk about how it's the fact that they did bring her back, and how will Mira fit into the nightmare scene? That's my biggest question. Is how
Did
will
they
she
really
be
only
there?
shoot one more scene?
Yeah.
What
one
about
scene.
Martian Manhunter? I mean, his scene was supposed to be a scene with Lois Lane, like, and they shot that, didn't they?
Yeah, a while ago.
So where? But you said they only shot one scene, so like, but that's two different scenes right there.
I don't think they filmed both of those.
What?
I mean,
what the fuck did they film with Martian Manhunter? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I just assumed that stuff was filmed a while ago.
no,
like,
Zach
back when they
Zach
filmed.
said he never got to shoot that scene where dude turns into Martian Manhunter.
Well, maybe they snuck that in there. But the quote I literally read from Deborah Snyder was her saying they only shot one scene. But we know Martian Manhunter's in the movie, so we don't have to worry about that.
I know. I'm just trying to.
Maybe they snuck it in there. Maybe she's mistaken. I would assume she's not, but maybe she is.
I'm just trying to figure out where they would fit the Martian Manhunter scene, because before we even knew that they were going to shoot extra scenes, like we knew they were wanting to shoot, some extra stuff, but everyone just kind of assumed it was going to be the Martian Manhunter thing. That was the like main idea. Martian Manhunter scene is the one that they're going to shoot, because that was the one Zach said, I never actually got to shoot that scene yet. He was going to shoot it, but that was the one scene he never got to shoot.
Yeah.
Obviously this nightmare sequence is it's an addition. Like you said, so Zach, well, if, I'm going to end this on a way that is deserving, since I have the opportunity. But thing is, they did shoot something else with the Martian Manhunter thing. So maybe they shot the entire scene around that previously, and they just needed to do that one little clip of the Martian Manhunter thing. But I don't know. Again, we haven't seen it. I could be wrong, but
I mean, we'll see. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
So Amber Heard. So
yes,
she's in this.
I'm assuming, considering they only shot one scene, according to Deborah Snyder, I'm assuming she's a part of the nightmare sequence, and I'm just wondering, how will Mira fit into that? Because Aquaman's not there, Wonder Woman's not there, the Flash isn't there, none of them are there. Why is Mira there? And Aquaman's not. That's just questions I have. I mean,
well, we're gonna get the answers in a month.
True.
I mean, a month, almost less than a month.
Yeah, I think it was 1 month yesterday.
Well, not if you include the fact that there's 2 less days this month.
No. 4 weeks exactly from yesterday. But yesterday was the 18th, and it comes out on the March 18th, so it's technically 1 month.
Okay.
Exactly.
Not what. It's okay. All right. So anyway, yeah, Amber Heard. I don't know. I have nothing for you on that one. I don't know what to guess.
I was just pointing it out. Just the fact that she did come back, and they seemingly only film nightmare stuff. I just thought it was interesting to point out that it seems like she's going to be there. Also, Granny Goodness was totally in that trailer. They even said she was in it.
Where?
In the shot with Darkseid.
Oh.
You had Desaad, Darkseid,
Yeah,
and Granny Goodness.
I remember
were
seeing
both there.
Desaad.
All three.
I remember seeing Desaad. I think I was just like caught up in complete awe of actually seeing Darkseid there.
Yeah. And by the way, the Granny Goodness thing is the last thing I have to mention if you want to move on from the Snyder Cut after that. There you go. Desaad, Darkseid, and Granny Goodness.
It is Granny Goodness, and she doesn't look completely fucking ridiculous. That's good.
Thing is, we have no idea who's playing her there. Who knows? She could be completely CGI.
She might be.
But if she isn't, then we have no idea who's playing her.
Who's playing Desaad?
I don't think we know that either. Let me check real quick, but I'm pretty sure we don't know. What was this thing called? Zack Snyder's Justice League? All right.
But, God, he looks so good there.
Oh, there is
Dark
someone
Side.
we know who's playing Desaad. Peter Guinness. I don't know who that is. Peter Guinness. It says he was in Alien 3 and King Arthur.
Let's look him up.
And he's in the Pennyworth TV show, which I forgot existed.
Yeah, how do you spell Guinness?
Guinness. He's credited as Desaad on IMDb.
I don't really recognize him. Cool. Well, what about the other chick, Granny Goodness?
No, we don't know who's playing her. We didn't even know she was in the movie until this trailer came out.
Like, I love the shot of Steppenwolf. Like, I don't know why. Like, when I first saw Steppenwolf in Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Edition, I just never considered that being his armor. I just thought that was him.
Yeah.
You know, but seeing him like this, like seeing his armor disappear, it's all, like he looks so naked, like frail almost, you know? God, look how good that is. Jeez Louise.
They got rid of that. They wanted to throw this thing out
They
the
wanted
window.
they wanted to throw this in the garbage. And they almost succeeded. Jesus fucking Christ. That's ridiculous.
It is.
Anyway, so anything else on the Snyder end of things?
I can just quickly mention that earlier today they announced that it will be streaming worldwide on the 18th because only America has HBO Max as of now. And I know Canada has Crave, which we don't have in America. It's their own streaming service. That's how they're getting it. But outside of that, we didn't know how this movie was being released outside of US and Canada. But earlier today, they announced that on March 18th, it's going to be available worldwide outside of China, France, and Japan, where the release dates are to be decided. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Score. Good for him. Zack Snyder sounds like he's been a busy man.
Yeah.
So he has been. He's been everywhere. He's doing all his YouTube visits on, all the, big supporters on, which is how great of him. How great of a guy.
I really respect him for doing interviews with fans rather than like journalists.
Yeah.
And, like people from like Collider and stuff like that, which I don't have a problem with them or anything, but just saying, I think it's cool that he likes to do interviews with fans.
Yeah, it's good for him. All right. So, next order of business.
I have nothing else about the Snyder Cut, but I have one more DC thing in general if you want to move from DC to DC. And the Flash movie, earlier today, they cast Supergirl, which was kind of unexpected. I didn't think Supergirl would be in this movie, but they cast Supergirl, and they got Sasha Collier, I think is how you pronounce her name.
I had to look her up.
But the director of The Flash, I think his name is Andy Muschietti. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, did It, right?
Yeah, he did both of the It movies. He released a video earlier today of him telling her that she was going to play Supergirl, and I thought it was a really cool video because it was a Zoom call, and he was like, all right, so we haven't decided who's going to play Supergirl yet, but we just want to ask you a few more questions.
What's tricky about this is that she she doesn't have to be Henry Cavill's Supergirl.
No, she doesn't. Could be multiverse.
Right.
We know they're exploring. We know they're exploring that in this movie. You know, with Michael Keaton.
Obviously. Yeah, and Ben Affleck being in the same fucking movie. Yeah.
I hope they have a scene together. I don't think they will, but I hope they do. I think it'll be a missed opportunity if Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton don't share a scene.
Right, and they have to do that classic like '90s line, like at each other, and like at the same exact time say, "Who the hell are you?" You know, or maybe like walk out, like do the mirror effect where one holds up one arm, they look like they're doing the same thing.
Oh, that would be cheesy, but that'd be kind of funny.
So you said there was a video of cast. Jesus, dyslexic.
But Andy Muschietti just posted a Zoom call, and he was like, "Okay, we haven't decided yet, but we still want to ask you a few more questions." And then he was like, "Can you fly?" And she was like, "What?" It's like she was
Fly
like,
where?
She was like, "I can if you want me to." And then he was like, "All right, well, if you want to fly, then you're gonna need this." And he held up what's seemingly the Supergirl suit. And then he told her that she was cast as Supergirl.
And there's a video of this.
Yes. I don't know where to find it, but I've watched it. And I thought it was a pretty cool video.
Let's see if this is it. I don't know. What the fuck is that?
I think that's a TV show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, they changed her costume.
Yeah. I think that was it. Down a little bit. I think that's the video.
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
All right, we're probably going to have to go through some stupid fucking ads, though.
Oh, that begins like right in the middle of the video. Does it?
I don't fucking know.
Did you know that you and your family may qualify for roofing?
Fucking commercials, man. 30 seconds.
Skip ad.
Okay, I see it.
You may qualify to get a new.
You may qualify to get a...
Alright. You want to play?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay. Well, then maybe you will need this.
Oh, that's definitely Henry Cavill S.
Yeah.
You're Supergirl. Felicitaciones. Muy bien. ¿Está bien, Sasha? Come back. Felicitaciones. Congratulations, Sasha. You made it. You made it.
That wasn't the full video, though, was it?
No, the video I saw, there was a whole opening of him like, okay, well, we haven't decided who we're going to cast yet, but we want to ask you a few more questions. But you still saw like the reaction and stuff and the suit. If that's the suit.
Really?
Wow. Well, if that is the suit, then that's still that's the Henry Cavill
That's
S.
that's a Snyder cut or Snyderverse S right there.
Yeah. Hopefully they keep it. They could change it, but hopefully they keep it. That'd be cool.
All right, so she's cast in the Flash
In the Flash as Supergirl.
as Supergirl. Do you think was that going to be in the original Flash concept, or do you think she's going to replace Cyborg?
I'm sure she was meant to be in it. I think Supergirl would be a weird choice to replace Cyborg with anyway.
Well, I mean, who can you replace Cyborg with? Honestly.
I think they just completely wrote him out. I almost said writ him out. Wrote him out. And
That's ridiculous. I'm surprised Ezra Miller's not standing up against that. But he's probably like, okay, I really want to get this fucking movie made, though.
well,
Did he come out? Did he say something?
that's what I said a few weeks ago to you. Why aren't they saying anything, the cast? And you told me something that I thought made sense. They want to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. Like, yes, and I'm glad that Ray Fisher's speaking up about this stuff. It's unfortunate that he had to lose his job over it, which is just a terrible thing. Hopefully he can get an opportunity to actually come back to this stuff once they get it all sorted out. But like you told me, like they want to keep their jobs, like,
Yeah.
and I thought that made sense.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
it's
don't
like
wanna
that.
get
It's like
fired.
that movie Chef. You ever seen that movie? Yeah,
a
you've seen the
great
movie
movie.
Chef. Yeah, great movie. When he's fired or he quits or whatever. The main character,
yeah,
played by
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. When he leaves, and he's like, "Come on, guys," and everyone just kind of like stays in the kitchen. He's like, "You know what? I get it." He's like,
Yeah,
you just keep cooking." Like he wasn't mad at them.
it's a classic thing in a movie you see anyway. Is just like, someone like, "Oh, come on, guys," and then they kind of just stay.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what could be happening here. Is like, they're like, we stand by you. Yes, we do, but we don't want to get fired.
Right.
Like,
And it sucks. It sucks that Warner Brother has pinned them in this position.
yeah.
Or, I mean, still nothing's actually come out yet fully. But things are coming out, especially against
Yes.
Joss.
Slowly but surely, because of NDAs and stuff, they can't say everything that's happened.
Well, okay. NDAs can't keep you from talking about sexual harassment.
True. I think
You know what I mean? Well, I can't talk about the time he touched me down there because, I don't want to give away the movie. Or what the fuck ever. NDAs don't cover, inappropriate behavior. And if they do, well, Hollywood's not hiding their, perverted lifestyle very well.
I think Ray Fisher's just been tweeting things lately. Like, he hasn't really been, or at least as of the last few days I'm talking about, he hasn't, like, revealed anything new. He's just been kind of like, there's one reason why John Berg, Jeff Johns, and Walter Hamada haven't sued me yet. And he says that's because everything I'm saying is true. And he'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I don't know. When he first came out with that stuff, I wasn't happy about it, and I wasn't upset about it. Remember, it was actually our last podcast we did together.
Yeah.
For our 2-year anniversary, where
I remember that.
Where I was just like, there's a time and a place, and this isn't the time nor the place. But I'm not in his position. I'm not in the position to where, well, maybe there is no time or place ever in Hollywood for this to happen. So I'm making my own time. I'm making my own place right here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the guy lost his job over it, and he's okay with that, and that says a lot. Like if he was making a big fuss, oh fuck, dude, I'm Cyborg, you can't fire me, I'm Cyborg, then that'd be a little different. But that's not what he's doing. He's like, okay, yeah, I lost my job. As long as this comes out, I don't care.
That's the whole thing with A over E, accountability over entertainment.
Yeah.
Like he's been willing to lose his job, and he said like, he put out a statement when they removed him from the movie. He says, I just got an official confirmation that I've been removed from The Flash. He says he disagrees with their decision, but at the same time he's still he's kind of technically okay with it in the sense that,
He's fighting he's fighting like a lot of people he's fighting the people that are signing his paychecks.
Yeah.
It's
he knew this was a risky move for his career, and he's willing to take it.
If not anything else, I mean, Warner Brothers can say that they fired him for conflict of interest.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he's saying this stuff, and it's not working. It's not good for the movie business,
Right.
Okay, I'm ready to move on.
All right.
From this, did you have one more thing, or
I have nothing DC to
Okay.
talk about right now.
well, I was wanting to stick to movie trailers, but we're an hour in and we haven't gotten to the second movie trailer.
Well, all right. I'm assuming I know which trailer you're referring to.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry. Oh, it's funny. It's the first one that popped up.
That wasn't even intentional, was it?
No, I typed in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it's an ad. I didn't even realize it was an ad. That's funny. All right. Let's check out this Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I have zero interest in the Tom and Jerry movie.
That comes out this month, I think. I think it comes out in like 2 weeks. I might check it out just because I want a new movie to watch.
Well, maybe we can watch the trailer while we're here.
Yeah, let's get to the Mortal Kombat one first.
All right. Mortal Kombat trailer. Jax looks weird.
Inspired by real stories of people living.
Sorry. That was comical expression because it wasn't a Mortal Kombat thing.
First learned about this 7 years ago. On a mission in Brazil to capture a wanted fugitive. When we got there,
That's such a cool shot.
we did it in seconds.
All right, pause there.
That's how Jax loses his arms.
That's an interesting turn on how he loses his arms, and I'm not complaining about it. That way, just it looks painful, like the ice like slowly going up his arm.
Well,
it just looks painful.
It looks painful because you can see like the blood mixing with the ice. Like
Yeah.
it's like he's freezing from the inside out, as opposed to outside in,
Yeah,
If you're moving from if you're going from outside in, you get numb, you might not feel it, but inside out, that's a whole different story.
and
I believe. I can only
Yeah.
fathom. I don't know.
I mean, I like the way they changed that because in the games he loses his arms to Ermac, but it seemingly Ermac is not in this movie. But we do know there's a lot of characters that we don't know about, so maybe he'll show up. But either way,
is she the cop chick in the?
she's Sonya.
That's Sonya. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to bear with me. I don't remember names very well.
I have
So-
an entire list of everyone who appears in this trailer.
So when it comes to
I'm
like
ready.
names of like movie characters or people that play people in movies, like I know from a movie channel perspective, that's not great, but yeah, I suck at names. So
Yeah.
like Sonya, okay, got it.
Yeah,
I
that's Sonya.
recognize that name.
You'll recognize the names, but maybe I'll have to tell you sometimes.
Exactly. I'm like, oh yeah.
All right.
All right. So Sonya, Jax. I mean, these are all like
Yeah, Sonya, Jax,
these are
Sub-Zero.
A-lister of Mortal Kombat characters.
Yes, and we know now that Sub-Zero is the main villain of the movie.
Yeah, well, I
Which is
mean,
interesting.
obviously they've been pushing Sub-Zero content at us. Like it's
It's-
pretty
it's-
much all. Even in the teasers, all you saw was Sub-Zero.
It's interesting, but also odd because Shang Tsung is in the movie, and usually he's like the villain of Mortal Kombat. Like in general, it's usually him and Shao Kahn that are like.
Yeah, well, how
The
well has that
villains.
worked out in the past films?
Well, in the past films, I don't think anything's worked out. So this is like a new opportunity for everything.
Yeah, it is a new opportunity. It's another opportunity. Each movie's a new opportunity, but this is they're actually going for it this time. They're trying to create, emulate that Mortal Kombat world into, I mean, it's the most violent. For a long time, it was the most violent video game, most brutal.
I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat is solely responsible for the rating of video games. And I'm not like exaggerating there. I mean, I'm pretty sure they started rating video games because of Mortal Kombat.
Right. So, and I mean, yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, that game was bloody. I mean, it was morbid. I remember
It's only gotten worse.
yeah, I remember, just playing on Super Nintendo, pulling out the spine, seeing the spine, jiggle and blood
Yeah.
dripping, whatever. Nowhere near what it is now, but it's always been that way. All right, so anyhow, and when I was a kid, I also watched the first Mortal Kombat in theaters.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I wasn't paying attention to the movie. I was on a date with a girl.
Oh, well, consider yourself lucky for not paying attention.
Yeah, well, it took me 2 hours to hold her hand. Anyway, I was a nervous child.
Superhuman abilities. It had the same marking you do, Cole.
That's interesting.
All right.
I don't really know why they're doing that.
Doing what?
The markings, like, of the Mortal Kombat logo.
Is it the Mortal? I could
That's
see.
that's like a redesigned version of the Mortal Kombat logo. But
Is that the Mortal Kombat logo that's going to be in this movie? Like, we're not going to see the original?
it's weird because the one that's on his chest is a redesigned logo, but the one they're using for like the movie's logo is the original Mortal Kombat logo. They're using like two different ones, and they're not like completely different or something, but there's a difference either way.
Well, I mean, you can't have like a fucking dragon on your body and be like, oh, yeah, it's a birthmark.
Yeah, they call it a birthmark, but
I mean, they obviously, think it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they said multiple characters will have the marking anyway.
Well, they also, hold on, let's see if we picked it up. I'm going to play this for a second.
It's a birthmark.
What do you mean?
He was born with it.
Duh.
He was born
That was the
with it.
first thing I thought when,
Like, yeah, that's what a birthmark is.
It's a birthmark? What do you mean? He was born with it? It's a mark on its body? That was the first thing I thought when I first saw this trailer. I was so eager to come home and do a trailer reaction. I really wanted to, but I could not. This is not the day that I could manage to make time for it, unfortunately.
I'm glad we're talking about it now, though.
Yeah, well, that's a big reason why I wanted to talk about it. That's why I was trying to push on to the Mortal Kombat thing instead of an hour on the Snyder cut. Oh, well. It is what it is. All right.
It's not a birthmark, Cole. Means you've been chosen.
Throughout history, different cultures all over the world.
Okay, who's that? This painting on the... Is that rock? Is that ice? What
I
is
never
this?
paid attention to that. Who could that be? I don't know who that could be.
It looks...
Is that
the lizard guy?
Ooh, I never thought about that. That
What's his name?
Reptile.
Reptile. Is that reptilian figure? Whatever his name is?
We know Reptile's in the movie, but as far we don't see him in the trailer unless this is supposed to be him, but we don't know. But we know he's in the movie.
I would guess that. I mean, that would be my guess. And what's this person in? I mean,
Who knows? Probably some random.
well, I'm just saying
character.
what's happened to them.
Oh.
Obviously, this is an old combat. Like it's
Wait.
paying homage.
Wait, hold on. Are they? This could be a key thing to figuring out if that's Reptile or not. Is that blood coming out of their neck, or are they
Mouth, like
puking,
they're
blood?
puking. Looks like they're puking.
That could confirm Reptile right there.
Yeah.
Because something, at least that he does in the games, is he'll open your mouth and because he can like shoot acid out of his mouth. He'll like shoot acid like directly into your mouth.
I mean,
And usually they puke blood because of it.
well, look at it. Look down there, like near the puke. It looks like there might be steam.
That could totally be Reptile.
I bet that's Reptile. I called it.
Wow, I would have never said anything about that. That could very well be.
There's
Reptile
probably like
there.
50 million other YouTubers that figured this shit out already.
Well, I've watched some other trailer reviews and nobody's pointed that out specifically, but
All right. Well, you've heard it here first, folks. Reptile. We think that's Reptile. But since you can't see anything that we're talking about, it's that quick. It's it's 48 seconds into the trailer. So, all right.
Reference a great tournament of champions. A dragon marking? I think it's an invitation to fight for something known. As Mortal Kombat.
Okay. So I'm not a huge fan of like martial arts movies. Like, or let me rephrase it. Not a huge fan of like just fighting movies in general,
yeah.
but I am a huge fan of violence. And this looks awesome. Like when I say fighting movies, like there's a reason why I still haven't watched John Wick.
Those are good. Though.
I know, and I'm sure I'll get sucked into them, but like I'm just not interested in huge action sequences. I've never seen those Hidden Dragon or Hidden Tiger, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie that came out a few years ago.
I'm going to be
probably 10,
completely
15
honest.
years
I have
ago now.
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just dated myself on that one, but it's just I've never been interested in these things. So like when I'm watching this trailer, I'm not like, oh my god, look at that martial arts. I'm like, oh my god, look at that thing he just took to the face.
Yeah, most Mortal Kombat fans are also like that because we know that they're going full R-rated for this. And because I remember them saying a few weeks ago that while filming, they didn't realize how fast you could get to an NC-17 rating. So they had to dial it back a little
Well,
bit.
maybe they should have talked to Rob Zombie about that because he had to edit Halloween, I think, 8 times he had to trim, the hardcore shit out of Halloween before they gave him an R rating.
Wow.
Yeah. Or maybe it was House of a Thousand Corpses. Either one. I think multiple of his movies he's had to trim a lot of fat to get down to that R rating.
I won't be surprised.
Which is why I'm very surprised he never released a unrated version or a NC-17 special cut or something like that. It seems like something he would do. All right. Anyway.
These are your champions.
I'm Sonya. That's Kano.
Whose hand was that? There was like the weird little web hand. And I don't think it was his unless it was just at a weird angle. It may have been just at a weird angle. Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, that's just him.
Okay, I thought that was just like a 2-fingered hand. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to waste your time.
That's Kano.
Hold on, pause here again, though. Kano, this is weird to me. I'm sure this is going to be a classic thing of Kano's going to turn against the team. Because Kano's never been a team with these people. He's always been, like, a bad guy. Like, especially against Sonya. They've never teamed up before. This is like a team in this movie. These are a team of people that they're introducing now.
But they show her fighting him.
Yes, but either way, there's still a team here. Or at least that's what they're trying to tell us, is they're a team. And I find it interesting that they're going that route with Kano. I'm sure he'll turn against them. You're going to find out he's working for Shang Tsung or something. But
yeah,
it's interesting that they're playing him off to be like a good guy, I guess, if you want to call him that, even though none of them are really good people. But
all right, I don't know enough about Mortal Kombat lore to really.
That's all right.
Oh, that's a good shot right there.
That's cool.
Who is that?
I think that's Liu Kang.
Yeah, little fireball cocktail he's making there. Hadouken! Everyone say your names.
No matter how many of my people we put in the ground.
Okay. Now she looks cool. Now in the poster she didn't look great. Her head looked photoshopped.
All the posters look kind of photoshopped.
But there. Is that who that is?
That's Melina.
Yeah, she looks good.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that look. I don't think it looks terrible or anything, but like where's her?
Were you expecting like her cheeks to be more open?
Not only that, but her teeth aren't that sharp. Like clearly they have like they're kind of jagged a little bit there. Like they did something, but usually her teeth are like...
Maybe it's an evolution. Maybe we see her at the beginning of the game before things get, before we see her fully developed into the character that we know. Maybe we watch her turn into that character.
Maybe, but there's something that happens later in the trailer that goes off a theory I want to tell you soon.
All right.
A theory that I heard. Shao Kahn. That wasn't Shao Kahn, but that was Shao Kahn's armor in that shot right there.
Oh, who's this?
I think that's supposed to be Sub-Zero.
Oh, he's got like a little noob entrance there.
That's the thing, though. There is that could be Noob as well, because we don't know if Noob's in the movie, and I don't know if you already said you don't know a lot about Mortal Kombat lore, but there are 2 Sub-Zeros. There's Bihan, and there's Kuai Liang, I think is his name. Kuai Liang is the younger brother, and he's Sub-Zero. Bihan dies in Mortal Kombat lore and is reborn as Noob Saibot. So Noob Saibot is the original Sub-Zero. Kuai Liang is like other Sub-Zero.
So I accidentally stumbled upon some lore and may have confirmed that thought there.
Yeah. that could be Noob. him as
look
Noob.
at me. Like I'm just like
You look
I'm
happy.
I look happy because I keep getting things.
You keep figuring things out when you're
And I
next
don't
to
even
the.
mean to. I'm like, is that that boob guy? Yeah, that's cool. Even a blind mouse gets an ear of corn every now and again. Here, my Uncle Bob used to say that, or maybe still does. He's still alive. Anyway.
The dragon. That is so cool.
Why is that so cool?
Because I'm nerding out right now.
I mean, when I saw the trailer for the first time, I recognized, the dragon. But then I was like, but it's not the dragon. You know, it's a dragon, but it's not the dragon, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's not what I mean, like the logo. I'm looking for, like, if they would have done, like, the full firing around it and, like, the actual logo right there, then I would have nerded out. I would have been like, oh, my God. Because, like,
that is supposed to be the dragon, though.
I loved that logo as a kid. You know, I used to draw it all the fucking time. I was a master of drawing that logo. Somewhere, Seth, there is a paper about, this big in my art stuff that you'll find when I'm dead and gone. You go through all my shit, and if you don't throw it all out and actually go through it, you'll find I have that somewhere. And I don't know, that would have been a good spot to put that right there.
I won't be surprised if they do. Usually Liu Kang's dragon doesn't do that, but if they add that in, that'd be kind of
it's very, very abnormal for Liu Kang's dragon. It's just not the way I know his dragon.
And in a second, I'm going to ask you to pause again in 2 seconds. So, pause. We didn't even know he was in this movie until this trailer came out. Goro,
okay.
One of the four-armed creatures. One of the many four-armed creatures.
He was the big boss battle in the older games.
Yeah.
And well, I guess he's consistently, at least one of the head guys you have to beat.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in this movie. I'm pretty sure he was never announced to be in this movie.
Probably because they didn't hire anybody to play him.
Right. There was probably someone on set who did motion capture, but that's probably... Well, he talks. I mean, someone has to voice him, unless they're making him not talk for some reason. But this is all we see of him in the trailer, so we can't really tell from that. But I don't know. I just want to say he looks cool. And also, we didn't know he was in this movie until now.
Does he look cool though?
He does. He looks exactly like he did.
I feel like his torso should be longer. I feel like when you have four arms like that, like if you took away his two arms right now, like if I just covered those up, like he looks fairly proportionate. Like his arms are a little bit shorter than they should be. I don't know. I just feel like I have to see how this character walks around with four arms and still looks somewhat believable. But that's just me being nitpicky. He does look badass. I wonder if they're going to have his sister on here.
Huh?
Or his wife or whatever. What's her name?
I think I know who you're thinking of, but they aren't sisters or wife.
Oh, just
another four-armed creature. Yep.
Okay. All right. I will say they are fucking killing it with Sub-Zero's tricks in this trailer. I hope they're not like showing all of them, because they show a lot of them.
I think they want to save a lot of, like, especially the gore stuff for the actual movie.
Oh, there's a gore shot coming up with Sub-Zero I thought was pretty badass.
I know which one you're talking about. That's really cool.
Sorry, I thought that was so fucking cheesy.
I'm sure it'll work in the movie. Well, maybe, but we'll see. There we go.
Yeah, where he takes the blood and freezes it. Is that like a fatality? It can't be.
No.
Get over here. I don't like it.
There's one.
That's weird.
There's one cheesy line that they say in this movie, like
besides
that.
That one,
near the end of the trailer, Kano literally says Kano wins. But I actually like that because it seems like something Kano would do anyway. It sounds like something Kano would say either way. Just Kano.
I don't know. I mean,
as long as they don't straight up say fatality in the movie, then that's fine.
Well, I think hearing "Get Over Here" would have been great in the movie.
I understand what you mean, yeah.
Or what if they went like cheesy route with it? Like Scorpion's like trying to run away from somebody, and he's people are following him. He's like, "Hey, get over here!" That'd be a '90s thing to do.
That would be.
I mean, I get what they're doing. They're playing to the fan service. This is a fan serviced movie, and rightfully so. So like I can sit there and say, it's weird hearing them say that. Like I'm so aware of what they're doing, trying to play into that fan service, but at the same time, now I'm starting to like feel guilty for bitching about it, because I feel like if they didn't do it, we'd be like, well, why didn't they fucking say it then? Why too scared to say get over here? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. All right. Yeah, they do play that into his character pretty well, and they did say finish them.
Finish them works just because he's the one who's like watching the tournament, because Mortal Kombat is a tournament. That one just makes sense. I don't think that's necessarily a fan service line, but
so I don't know. The thing about making this a movie, and it might be why it has never succeeded, and I might be stretching also, but the thing with Mortal Kombat is what makes Mortal Kombat fun is that you're playing as that character. You are that character. You're doing that thing to that other person on that screen. What this movie essentially does is make you the other person in the room watching the other two people play. And that's not always a great place to be. So like maybe that's why like Mortal Kombat hasn't actually worked, besides all the crappy, story plots and all that stuff. But my point is like they have to play into very hard R to make this more than just a Mortal Kombat movie. Because to me, taking that person interacting out is what could kill movies like this. Like, yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, I know what you mean.
Could this break the video game adaptation curse?
I think Sonic did that already, but if you're talking
fair
about
enough.
like
Fair enough.
Sonic was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good.
But
that was one of the last movies we ever saw in theaters.
Yep, back to back with Birds of Prey.
Yep.
And that was over a year ago now.
Yep.
Actually, but Sonic was actually pretty good. But
you're right.
This would be a good step in that direction of more video game movies being good. I think, at the very least, if the movie, let's say the movie ends up having terrible writing all around, terrible story. Let's say that happens.
It's just chock full of one-line cheesy.
Yeah.
Let's
say it goes that route. I don't think it will, but let's say it does. We still have a ton of gore and fighting to at least have some fun watching it.
And do you think this movie essentially stripped down to its bare bones is a horror slasher film? I mean, is that what it is?
I don't know if I'd call it horror necessarily, but slasher I could totally see.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, slasher is a subgenre of horror. That's what that is.
Right. Well, I don't think they'll go the horror route. I think it'd be cool if they did, but I don't think they will.
It's either I don't know. It could be. I mean, it could be just a slasher film.
Yeah, there's something I wanted to talk about here, and even though it's in the trailer, I'm still gonna say slight spoiler warning, because it is a half a second shot that if you're not like looking for it, basically, you're not gonna notice it. It's in. So there's quick spoiler warning. It's a key character death that they're showing. It's in the montage near like the very end of the movie or trailer where they're showing like all the random shots of like a bunch of gore. There's a shot there where there's a key character dying. I just want to talk about it and a theory that goes with it. Yeah, it's right there. That's.
Oh, I got it.
That's it right there. There's a slightly better area where you could get it so you could tell who that is, but I know who that is. So
Is that what's her name?
that's Melina.
Oh,
And in the background, if you look,
well,
that's
why
Sonya.
That's why you had that look of when I was like, well, maybe it's just the beginning of her character's development. You're like, yeah, bitch dead though.
I mean, maybe there's a theory that I heard. I don't know how true it is. Obviously, it's a theory, but there's something interesting.
Is she using the flashlight?
That's not a flashlight.
Oh.
That's something she's always been able to do is like shoot beams. And this kind of, but in the middle there's Cole Young, but that has nothing to do with my theory.
Okay, so
anyway, so there was a theory that she dies here, but then Shang Tsung finds her and brings her back to life, and there's something that happens in that process that makes her look like her somewhat original look, where her teeth get sharper. I don't know how that would work necessarily, but it's just a quick theory about that.
She gets the Shredder treatment. Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, where he was in the dumpster for what could not have possibly been more than a few days, even though the Ninja Turtles have moved on months ahead in their lives. And then he's just like, hey, now that I'm out of the dumpster, I'm going to start sharpening jagged, jigsaw pieces into my helmet. And
sure, let's go with that. That's what.
You're like,
this
whatever,
is.
Dad. Yeah, that works. Stop trying to talk about turtles all the time.
But whether that theory ends up being true or not, or relatively true, either way, her guts are like spraying.
Oh, I see.
All over
There's
the
a
place
hole right here, yeah, in her body. Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe. What if they went like full like video game route, in the sense that the characters can survive a lot during the battles in the games, and I mean a lot. You have them like stabbing each other in like the head and like just getting right back up. What if they went that kind of route in the movie with this? What if she somehow survives that?
Yeah. What if there's some like weird life bar somewhere in the room? Like that's what happens. Like.
Yeah, I don't think. The only reason I'm like speculating so much on this is I don't think they would show this death in the trailer unless she survives or comes back. I think if she was like dead, I don't think they would show that in the trailer.
Yeah.
If she is supposed to be dead here, then that's kind of an odd choice to put that in here. But
well, I really hope that they just make things make sense. I want to be invested in why these people are doing this combat. And we're here to save the world. Okay, fucking Christ, here we go again. Why does it have to be a fight for Earth? Why does it have to be a fight for the planet, fight for the world, fight for the universe? Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, is that part of Mortal Kombat lore? Is it always just like why are they doing the tournament? What's the story mode in there?
Tournament was something that was ran by Shang Tsung. So,
but why?
Kind of blanking at this moment, but
I'm so nervous. All right. So anyway, this movie looks good. Like, I really want to see it. Is this an HBO Max thing?
HBO Max and theaters. Yes. In April. 2 months.
I don't even care about theaters anymore. I really don't.
I would love to see this in theaters. Just throwing that out there in case you want to keep that information.
But I would
in the
like
back
to
of
see
your
the
mind.
Snyder Cut in theaters. Like, if it was
Except
offered
that's
in
not
theaters,
getting.
I would go. Just just because it's an IMAX and great detail, big screen. But I'm pretty content with doing shit at home now. So
Yeah.
Plus we have that projector and a 200 screen that we can put in the backyard anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the trailers. All right, so now Tom and Jerry, is that what you're talking about? Oh, look at that. I'm breaking down here. Who's that secret character? Is that Tweety in the background? I don't know.
Is that Tom?
Is that Jerry? Well, there's a trailer. All right, so Mortal Kombat expectations. As I said, I think it will be fun. I hope it will be memorable. I'm sure it will be fun. I hope it will be memorable.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not like Birds of Prey. Hyped up garbage. That movie sucked, in my opinion. I know you seem to have a weird ass for that movie, but
I think it's fine. I don't hate it, but I don't love it or anything.
I just can't stand that fucking movie.
It's just
I have zero interest to watch it again. I was so confused watching. They had 15 different flashbacks going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't like about it. I don't think it should have been a Birds of Prey movie. That would have been a cool twist, because they don't even call themselves the Birds of Prey until literally the final scene of the movie. I think that just would have been a cool twist to have. Is a surprise. Here's the Birds of Prey. Maybe we'll take them somewhere one day. But
right,
calling it a Birds
of Prey and the Emancipation of one of Harley Quinn. What the fuck?
Calling it a Birds of Prey movie.
Call Harley Quinn. Shut the fuck up.
Calling it a Birds of Prey movie and having Harley Quinn star in it was a weird idea, because she's not even a part of the team. Not in the movie, and also not in the comics is she a part of that team. So I don't know why we're labeling it as a Birds of Prey movie. If anything, it should have been a Huntress movie, because she was the most interesting one, in my opinion. People like Black Canary, but I thought Huntress was the coolest one.
Yeah, I don't remember who was in that movie, so besides Harley Quinn.
Black Mask was cool. Anyway,
was he?
He was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved how that mask was glued to his face.
Anyway, so there's a Mortal Kombat movie coming out soon. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but there's a couple extra things I wanted to mention here. Yeah. So I have an entire list of seen in the trailer, which is, the characters you see in the trailer, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, all of them. But there's a very small list of just 3 characters that are confirmed but not seen in the trailer. And that's Natara, who, I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about Natara. I've never seen her in a game. I haven't played all of the games.
So is she an older character?
Older, yes. She's not in the 2D games, but she's in what they call the 3D era of Mortal Kombat. So we know she's in the movie now, because they accidentally Nitara. They accidentally leaked her on a set photo.
Is that her?
I don't know. It's just Natara. Just look up Natara Mortal Kombat. There you go. That's her. So we know she's in the movie. On accident, they announced her with a set photo, and there's the trailers and the names on the trailers and stuff. People looked in the very background, and she was there. Her name was on a trailer. So then they were like, okay, you caught it. She's in the movie. Next one.
How does her name make it onto a trailer and by mistake? Then
it was in the very background. I would say it's something that's kind of easy for them to miss, because it wasn't meant to be the focus whatsoever, because they were in front of another trailer, and it was 2 people taking a photo on set, and then if you look in the background you can see her name, and they were like, okay, you caught it, so we'll just tell you that yeah, she's in it. The next one, I wrote this down before we may have found him, but Reptile.
Yeah, and by we you mean me. Yeah, I totally found him.
Whether or not that is him, he's in the movie. So, and we technically never saw him in person. So, we didn't necessarily see Reptile in the trailer, but he's in the movie. And the last one here I have is Cabal. And do you remember who Cabal is? He's burned. He has the mask on, and he carries around, they're not swords, but carries 2 things on his back, and he runs fast.
I know.
No? Look him up.
Yeah,
that was a very demanding way to say that. but
How do you spell it?
Kabal. Cabal.
Oh, those things, yeah. Okay, I remember him now. He's like the guy that he's like my last pick to play.
I like Cabal. But he's in the movie. We haven't seen what he looks like yet. We haven't seen what any of these characters look like yet out of the 3 I just named. But
yeah, I'm pretty certain I picked out Reptile. So, that's good.
that'd be cool if that is Reptile. It's an interesting design, but
I want to put that when I promote this podcast. I think we picked out Reptile in the trailer. So,
there's one major thing here though is there's someone who's looked at as not the main character, but one of the main characters of the entire franchise who's not announced to be in the movie yet. That's Johnny Cage. Nowhere to be seen in the trailer, any of the promotions, and they have not said if he's in the movie or not.
fuck that guy. I fucking hate that character. I hate Johnny Cage. I can't stand his... he just doesn't fit into Mortal Kombat for me. He's like...
I think that's kind of the whole point. He's an actor. That's his thing. He's a washed up actor.
I feel like he's a sequel trilogy type of character. You know,
I know what you mean by that.
You don't bring him in with the big dogs. You let him come in when you're like, okay, now we need some names to, put in the, Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. Like, okay, here we go. Here's where Johnny Cash comes in.
Johnny Cash. Here's the thing, though, is he's probably in the movie because why would they leave out Johnny Cage? Whether you like him or not, he's a fan favorite from a bunch of people. And I'm not
for the same reason that I just said.
Oh, I know. Okay,
To
I get what you
save
mean
them
now.
you don't want to blow your load first thing. You want to save some material for your next movies. So
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Greg Russo, who wrote the movie, he wrote the screenplay of the movie, which, by the way, first-time writer and first-time director for this movie. It's an odd choice, but
he was. This is a James Wan production, correct?
yes, James Wan is producing the movie. But Greg Russo made a post about the movie earlier today, and he was just talking about how he's been like a Mortal Kombat fan all of his life, and the way he worded the post, I couldn't fit it into the one screenshot I have on here, but the way he makes it sound, he sounds like he's a true fan of this franchise and has been for decades, and that's why I have a lot of faith in the movie, because he sounds like he's genuinely passionate for the whole thing, and I find it hard to see him messing this up. But anyway, that's not my point. He made a post about that, and someone replied and said, I just need to know why Johnny Cage isn't in the movie, or why he isn't a main character like in the original games. I truly believe this movie will be great, but I just want an answer. And Greg Russo, he just simply replied and said, wait for the movie. That's all I can say.
He might pull a Joker, in Batman Begins.
Oh, last second, mention maybe.
Yeah,
I could see that.
We're at a loss. We've lost. The world is. Earth is going to be destroyed now unless someone comes and saves us. And Johnny Cage be like, "Hey, motherfuckers, I'm here." I hope he has a high pitched voice too. I'm here to whoop y'all's ass.
I'm curious who they would get to play him. I feel like they would want a big name for Johnny Cage. I don't know why I think that. I just feel like that would be an interesting choice.
A big name, martial arts.
There's a few names people have thrown around. Some people have said.
I swear to God, if anybody says Ryan Reynolds, I'm going to slap him.
That's the first one that's the one I was just about to say. Ryan Reynolds is a fan cast that I've seen quite a few times.
I think he'd be a low-hanging fruit.
I've seen some people say Chris Pratt.
He would do good. Chris Pratt, no.
He's busy.
Well, I don't see it. Not that he couldn't. I just don't see it. I would see Ryan Reynolds before I see Chris Pratt.
That would be a big reveal, though, if it was Ryan Reynolds, because this movie doesn't have huge names attached to it, and I mean cast-wise. James Wan is a huge name, but he's not in the cast. But like cast wise, there's no huge names. You know, you don't got any A-listers, which you don't need. But I just think it'd be a cool thing if the one A-lister they get for this movie is Johnny Cage, because it would make sense, because that's kind of his whole thing is like he's in Johnny Cage is a washed up actor who used to be like a huge star. But
hold on, I'm looking this up for. I can never remember this guy's fucking name.
Are you trying to suggest that Jonah Hill should
No,
be
who the other one?
Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum. I always get it backwards. I always like Tatum cheating. I can't.
Channing Tatum.
He would be a good Johnny Cage.
I mess it up now.
What's his name?
Channing Tatum.
He would be a good Johnny Cage.
That's interesting. I could see that.
Like he would. He's got the comedic chops, you know, and he could play, you know, the dickhead. But he's also got a really solid build. Like he's big. He's like intimidating. I would imagine if I saw him in person, I'd be like, hey, yeah, hope you don't have a hard handshake. Okay, you do. I'm intimidated by you now. You know, like, yeah, Channing Tatum. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I think he would be a good Johnny Cage, and he really needs some love after that Gambit mishap. You know,
yeah, he was attached to that for years,
and he was really excited about that. And you know, but Fox at the time, there's like, yeah, we're just doing whatever, continuity, schmenuity, whatever.
We're just not gonna make this Gambit movie, even though it's one that a lot of people were really excited for, but they eventually just scrapped the whole thing, especially and when like because it kept getting scrapped and then like brought back to life and then scrapped again, but Channing Tatum was always attached to it.
Yeah.
And when Disney bought Fox, that kind of just like movie's done, like it's gone, it's not happening. Maybe in a few years they'll bring it back, but like when they bought Fox, it wasn't like a priority to make that Gambit movie.
But when they bought Fox, we also said, well, that universe is done.
Huh.
But WandaVision.
We can move right into WandaVision now if you want to.
Let's do it. WandaVision fucking brought back dude from fucking playing
Quicksilver. Evan Peters. Well, we don't know for sure if he is that Quicksilver.
Okay. But that was a conscious decision to have Quicksilver from that universe play Quicksilver from this universe. There's a reason for that.
Yes, I believe that something will come out of it. I mean, obviously, there's only 2 episodes left, so we'll find out. But
are we going to spoiler alert WandaVision here?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Since episode 7 just came out today,
and we watched it like 2 hours ago. So
yeah, like right before we jumped right into this podcast, we watched it. But all right, so spoiler warning for episode 7 and all previous episodes of WandaVision. So Agnes, or I guess her real name, Agatha Harkness, she was controlling Quicksilver.
And a lot of other things.
And a lot of other
from the very beginning. Okay, first of all, before we dive into that, let me just say what seems to be going on with a lot of viewers is, and a specific YouTuber that I follow, you know, he just said, I was wrong about WandaVision. You know, when I only did a review for the first 2 episodes, and I wasn't excited about it. And when the 3rd episode came out, that's when I was like, okay, I'm not even doing a fucking review. I'm just going to do a series review if I do anything. Because I was so sick of what they were doing by the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
But now they won me over. Like, okay, this is the good stuff. I just wish they didn't take so fucking long to get there.
4 episodes. 3 episodes.
Okay, but you see, there's a whole different way of thinking when it comes to these like series out on Netflix and what have you than there was when I grew up. Because people are like, what? I hate this show. Well, okay, but it's way better past past season 2. It's way better after the 16th episode. Like there's this justification of, okay, it's allowed to be crap for a while. But I'm not saying that this movie was crap at first. I'm just saying when I first did the 1 and 2 review, the one thing that I hoped would happen would be that I would watch the whole thing and then I would come back and be more satisfied with those first episodes. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think if I go back and watch those first few episodes again, I'll be more excited about it than I was. Because there's such a huge fucking question mark over this entire series. And it was not giving you any fucking answers.
That was the whole point.
Right. And it was like, it was just nerve-wracking. It was nail-biting. I mean, the last time we saw Vision, he got his fucking Mind Stone ripped out of his fucking head and died. And now here he is, happy, healthy, and living in fucking Mayberry.
Westview.
No, well, my point is Mayberry is, for the younger generation, son, Mayberry is where the Andy Griffith show was held.
Oh, I haven't watched that show in a long time. So.
Right. I was just saying, he was called back to the older shows. That's
I get
why
what you
said
mean.
That. Okay. But
is he all right though? Is he? You saw him when he crawled out the wall.
I meant in retrospect of watching the show. Like that was the big question mark. Okay, what the fuck happened? Now he's happy and healthy here. No, obviously there's something weird going on there that he might not even be able to live outside of the hex.
Yeah.
You said hex. Yeah, so like what's happening? And who is this fucking Agatha?
Agatha.
Who is this chick? I don't know anything about her.
She's a witch. That's about it. I'm sure she's more than that. But
all right, let's see here. Well, the only images that show up are the TV show. But there's this one. Is that her?
Yep.
Yeek. Okay.
All right.
What do you know
She's
about
a
her?
witch. Uh-huh.
Okay, obviously. Okay, I get it. She's a witch. But like, okay, where I'm confused is, I guess the fact that I don't know any fucking thing about this chick. Is she controlling her through this whole thing?
We don't know. We don't know what's going on.
No, still. We're on episode 6, 7.
There's 2 episodes left. We're going to get answers. It's not like there's going to be a season 2.
So,
okay, what's going to be funny is when it leaves off on a cliffhanger and continues in the next Doctor Strange movie.
right, which is makes sense. Like when they first announced that, Wanda Vision was going, and when they first announced WandaVision and then announced that she was going to be the main baddie in Doctor Strange.
They never said she was the villain, but
Okay, well, I always assumed she would be. And I told you this like a year and a half ago when this was announced.
yeah.
I remember telling you, I said, what they're going to do, they're going to explain, she lost vision, she's going to lose her kids, and that's going to make her go mad, and then she'll be the baddie. That's how I've always envisioned it. But like these little layers, I don't know how they're gonna pull this shit out, but I'm sure they will. They're fucking Marvel. They'll figure it out. So what are your thoughts and theories on this?
I figured there was something going on with her since the beginning.
I did mention
That's like
something about her in my review, but nothing great.
Yeah.
I was like, her character, I don't like the way she's acting.
There's been like a general theory through like the whole fandom that she was Agatha. And even
That's
if
people that are like really deep into this stuff.
yeah. And even if she wasn't Agatha, there's still something off about her. and, well, obviously, now we know that now. I myself don't have any theories going forward with her specifically, but I'm curious to see where they take it with her.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, Wanda doesn't remember or really know what happened to make what she's doing happen.
Right.
So obviously, this Agatha chick has something to do with this. Now, does this Agatha chick work for Sword? Is that what it is?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Why would you highly doubt it? Because they're trying to get Vision.
The guy is trying to get Vision.
Right. The guy, the lead of Sword is trying to get Vision. So why wouldn't he contract this Agatha out to make Wanda look like a bad guy when she's actually not, in order for them to obtain Vision? I feel like, because there's different layers here, and that's the part that's like jogging my mind. I thought the dude from Sword, like, he was gonna have some, like, super secret, reason of why he's trying to get Vision and all this stuff. Like, okay, obviously he's manipulated this situation somehow, and then Agatha shows up and she's like, oh no, I'm the one manipulating the situation. But they have to be in cahoots. I think she was hired from Sword guy to make Wanda do all this shit.
Not a bad theory. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a bad theory. But there is another theory with him, which I was kind of talking about earlier. Hayward, that's his name? Hayward? There's a theory that
every time you say that, I think of Squidward, which also makes sense for that character.
There's a theory that Hayward is Ultron. And
Hayward is Ultron?
Hayward is Ultron. Hayward being the Sword director. There's a theory that Hayward is Ultron. And there's actually more evidence than you'd think to back that up. Now, at first, it sounds like, some silly fan theory. I heard a fan theory that the bunny that Agatha has is Doctor Strange in disguise. That's a ridiculous fan theory. But the theory that Hayward is Ultron is that in both comics and animation, he has disguised himself as humans before, multiple times. And not only that, but there's a clear interest with Hayward in getting Vision. Not only getting Vision, but as they said in the most recent episode, Hayward was trying to bring him back online, as they said. He was trying to bring Vision back. Now, who created Vision? Ultron. It's an interesting theory.
It's one that's kind of a stretch in the sense of Vision killed Ultron.
Or did he?
Well, I mean, okay, listen. As of right now, that's the only fucking thing that Vision has accomplished in the MCU.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Okay. If they take that away from him, he's got no reason to be in this fucking universe at all. He's the fucking Mind Stone. Apparently, the Mind Stone is the worst stone to be. You're just a befuddling idiot that falls in love and doesn't remember shit. So, like...
and gets a drunk off of a piece of gum.
Oh, my God.
I actually enjoyed that. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was funny.
It was funny. Not for a Mind Stone. Like, I get it. And yeah, in their cartoon, oh, gum mechanics. Whoop, 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 whoop. Doesn't work. But, like, that's the one thing that he's done. He killed Ultron, and it makes sense that he would know that Ultron was dead. He would know. He was connected to him,
Yeah.
But, like, You were telling me this earlier, and I think I misunderstood what you said. Which means what I told you after you told me this, I must have sounded like a madman.
What do you remember what you said?
Yeah, because I was like, well, why would he, live the normal life and like fall in love with Wanda and like all this stuff? I thought you were telling me that Ultron was disguised as Vision.
No.
That's what I thought you were telling me.
No.
Which would make, honestly, more sense than what you're telling me now. Even though I don't like that theory or that idea either. But I don't know. I'm sure Marvel, Disney will find some quirky way to explain it off well. But it just seems like a Hail Mary pass. It just seems like a not a very well thought out idea that Ultron could be that guy.
Watch the episode come out in 2 weeks and he isn't Ultron and I just sound like an idiot.
I mean, if he is Ultron and they explain it well, then fine. But as I said,
if he's Ultron, they'll have a reason for it. They're not just gonna...
that was the only fucking thing that Vision has done.
I know. I think there was...
He literally is the one that injured War Machine. Besides killing Vision, he crippled War Machine. This is what Vision has done. And they could have destroyed the Mind Stone way before if they just want to sacrifice Vision. But
I don't
no,
think
they
they realized
had to
they had
stretch
to
it
do
out.
that. But
What's that?
I don't know if they realized they had to do that, but...
Well, yeah, that's why they were keeping him away from everything. They were trying to remove the Mind Stone from Vision the entire Infinity War movie.
Well, I think the plan was to defeat Thanos. So I don't think they thought ahead to the point of killing him early. When the whole idea...
Yeah, they did. That was the whole concept. Vision came to all of them and said, you have to destroy this. You have to destroy this. That was the whole concept of... That was Vision's story arc in that entire movie. Was he said, I need to die because you need to kill this Mind Stone. And them trying to not kill him.
Yeah. True. Man. Vision.
Do you feel dumb yet?
No.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel dumb. It's okay. You just blanked out the entire movie plot, but it's fine.
So.
I love you. Thank you for dealing with me.
I try my best. That was a joke.
I don't try at all. This guy sucks.
So, Monica has powers now. Monica Rambeau.
Oh, yeah, through, static electricity, apparently.
And, yeah, being in the Hex gave her powers. So...
That was a pretty cheap way to give her powers. Does anybody that runs through that, do they get powers too?
I guess we'll find out.
Because she didn't have superpowers before she went in there, right?
No, they were talking about how...
Or the fact that she's the only one that has come out. Maybe that's the reason she was able to go back in. So that would make her, like, the only person.
They've talked about, I think in episode 5, how they completely... They were, like, scanning her and stuff, saying her cells are completely rearranged.
Right, yeah.
So the Hex gave her powers. Like, it's an interesting idea. Like, will anyone else get powers out of that? We'll see.
But she's the only one that's been sent back.
Right.
From the Hex. So anybody that gets out of the Hex and then goes back in for a second round, they're the superpower.
There's an interesting theory here, and that's because there is a supposed huge cameo in the last 2 episodes. I'm assuming it's going to be the finale, but there is a huge cameo coming soon, and they said this before Quicksilver, and once Quicksilver was revealed, everyone was like, that's the huge cameo. Of course it's Quicksilver. But they've said again, it's not Quicksilver. There's another huge cameo coming. And I want to point out what Elizabeth Olsen said before. There's headlines, very incredibly misleading headlines, saying that there is a Luke Skywalker level cameo, like comparing it to Mandalorian. That's not what she said. She never said that there is a Luke Skywalker level cameo because she was asked about it. She was being interviewed and they said, is there a Luke Skywalker level cameo? And she said, well, I didn't know Luke Skywalker was in The Mandalorian, but let's go with yes. So it's misleading in the sense that, like, they're making it sound like she was like, oh yes, there's something that big. But there's still a cameo because Paul Bettany is saying now, he said this a few days ago, he says, people seem to think it's Doctor Strange. Truth is, there's one character that has not been revealed yet, and it is very exciting. It's an actor I've longed to work with my whole life.
There's only two possibilities.
I hope we're thinking the same people. I think one of them is going to be the same, at least.
Probably not.
Probably not. You go first, so I don't sound like
Stan Lee.
Okay, well, Stan Lee's dead.
Right. Which would make the cameo, like, the biggest.
Hasn't he technically worked with Stan Lee, though?
So Vision's also been dead, by the way.
Yeah, but Vision's not real.
Yeah, I just want to make a joke. I was thinking Hugh Jackman.
I mean,
since they're, teasing in the Fox universe of things.
I'll be surprised if they want to get Hugh, or I won't be surprised if they want to get him back. I'll be surprised if he comes back.
Who are you thinking?
This might sound like a stretch. Patrick Stewart.
That would be the best. We were almost on the same page.
We were there.
We were so close.
Now, there's other theories of John Krasinski showing up as Reed Richards, which is a somewhat realistic outcome.
Is that the original?
No, he's from The Office. He plays Jim on The Office. John Krasinski. He was in A Quiet Place. He directed it too.
Oh, Jesus fucking! As Reed Richards.
There's a fan cast.
Oh right, him and his wife.
Him and his wife, and there's huge theories going out that he might. We don't even know if he's cast as Reed Richards. We know they're making a Fantastic Four movie. We don't know who's playing Reed Richards, but there's theories that he will show up. Or at least Reed Richards will show up in WandaVision. But I don't see it being realistic that Paul Bettany's wanted to work with John Krasinski his whole life.
Yeah.
I think it will be someone from the X-Men movies. I don't see it being someone from the MCU movies solely because it sounds like
Patrick Stewart sounds like
it sounds like someone. He's making it really sound like it's someone he's never worked with before. So it can't be someone like Robert Downey Jr.
Has he worked with Patrick Stewart before?
I don't think so.
Let's look it up.
If it does, then if he has, then that sucks. But
so
but if he has never worked with Patrick Stewart before, I will put money on it being Patrick Stewart.
And what, Paul?
Paul Bettany.
How do you spell that?
Bettany. Paul Bettany.
What? Oh, you said fan theory. That's why it's showing up.
Yes. What is that? On the top right, what is that?
That? You don't want to see that.
I don't. There's one with Ian McKellen too.
That's Patrick Stewart as a woman.
That's Ian. There's Ian McKellen in the second row. There's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
He makes. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Since the pod people listening can't see what we're talking about, we looked up Patrick Stewart and Paul Bettany, and went to images, and there's images using that Face app to make both Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen
and Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Oh, he's there too. Paul Bettany, Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen gender swapping them.
All right.
And it was just kind of sudden for that to be there. But But I mean, I could totally see it being Patrick Stewart.
Wanda Vision theories: 9 actors that could be a part of a secret thing.
I could also seeing it potentially being Ian McKellen. And I say that because obviously we have Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, if that's actually the Quicksilver from that universe. And that's Wanda's father.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting way to bring that in.
Kelsey Grammer. Oh, yeah. I mean,
I don't know if that'd be
who's wanted to work with them his whole life. I mean, I could understand being entertained by Kelsey Grammer your whole life, but like, man, I really want to work with that guy who played the same character for 20 years my whole life. Elliot Page.
If they hype this up,
Why the fuck is Elliot Page on here?
If they hype this up, because he was in the X-Men movies, if they hype this up and it ends up being a cameo,
what was he? He?
If this was hyped up to be and ends up being someone who was on another sitcom, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be slightly disappointed.
Who did Elliot Page play?
Kitty Pryde.
Who the fuck is that?
I don't know. There's Evan Peters. Oh, that'd be a shocker. I'd be surprised if he shows up. That's a stretch. Imagine how Aaron Taylor Johnson feels. He played Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Imagine already playing Quicksilver in a franchise, and they decide to bring back Quicksilver, and they bring back the other one.
And not just the other one, but the other one that you were also in a great movie with, Kick-Ass. Which is a very, very underrated movie, by the way.
It is. I've seen it. It's good. And the guy who directed that directed First Class. X-Men First Class. Just, I guess we're looping that all together, but...
Yeah, so there's Patrick Stewart. Dick Van Dyke. That would be very surprising. Why the fuck would Dick Van Dyke appear? Who made this fucking list?
I'm not gonna lie, I never considered it being like a huge sitcom cameo. I never considered that possibility. I don't think it would be. Sitcom?
I think Dick Van Dyke's famous for sitcoms?
I don't think he's famous for sitcom, but, you know, there's the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Well, yeah, and there's also Mary Poppins. And
yes, but there's also the Dick Van Dyke Show. Like...
Did you ever see that episode of Family Guy where the FCC starts editing everything?
Yes.
It's the Beep Van Beep Show, starring Beep Van Beep. I wonder if that joke would fly today.
Michael Fassbender. I can see that happening too. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought either
Okay,
him or
listen,
Ian McKellen.
I would accept him coming back as Magneto more than I would Hugh Jackman. More than I would Bryan Cranston. Why the fuck would Bryan Cranston show up?
I don't know. What's it say? I'm sure it gives a reason for why Bryan Cranston. Oh, it's because he was in Malcolm in the Middle and Seinfeld, which I didn't even know he was in Seinfeld.
Yeah, he played his dentist, I think, or something like that. Is he even on the list?
Who?
He's not even on the list.
Who's in it?
Dude who played Professor X in the new ones.
Oh, James McAvoy?
Yeah. That would be a big one.
That would be.
But I would rather see the other guy. God, I'm so bad with names.
Patrick Stewart?
No, Michael Fassbender. I'd rather see him come back as Magneto before I'd want to see dude come back as Professor X.
If they bring in...
Not Patrick Stewart.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. James McAvoy. He was good as Professor X. I like all the recasts.
James McAvoy, I didn't like as Professor X. I didn't like him as in that role. I think that's why. Like, I was so just... That's not Patrick Stewart. That's how I felt the entire time. I could believe him as Magneto. as a young Magneto. I could not believe James McAvoy as a young Patrick Stewart. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't put my head on it, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
But Michael Fassbender, that's who I'm going for.
I think if they were to bring in a Magneto that already exists, I think it would probably be Michael Fassbender.
Well, they need to bring in a Magneto because there needs to be some explanation here. Because
we'll get it. We'll get the explanation.
Yeah, there needs to be.
I don't know if it'll be in WandaVision, but they're definitely going to bring in Magneto, I'd say sooner than later. I'm surprised they went ahead with this stuff so fast, to be honest. Because I remember they were saying, like, oh yeah, you know, they bought Disney, or Disney bought Fox, but they said, we're not going to bring in any of these characters, specifically the X-Men, for years. They said, we already have a plan. You know, we want to stick to our plan, and then we'll talk about X-Men and stuff like that. Well, you know, one movie later, and we have Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. So,
well, to be fair, there was also a global pandemic that may have helped rush things a little bit.
They filmed WandaVision before the pandemic.
All of it?
They had like a few weeks of reshoots like a few months ago.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, the brother being added in, it could be a reshoot.
I don't see that being a last minute thing.
How quickly was he in and out of the show?
He's been so far in 2 episodes.
Out of 7.
Yes, but they filmed the Halloween episode before the pandemic. We saw footage from that episode before the pandemic.
You're right.
Not footage of him, because that was meant to be
You're
a
right.
surprise.
You know what? That theory's gone. Just forget that. Sorry.
But
I just throw shit out there. Sometimes it sticks.
there's
I still got Reptile.
There's some more interesting evidence to kind of support Patrick Stewart being in it. And
he's number 1. That would be the number 1 on the list, Patrick Stewart.
And that's
him talking to Kevin Feige. Yeah.
About specifically Professor X stuff. That they never, like, it was very vague on what he meant by Professor X stuff. But he was like, he said, yeah, me and Kevin Feige had long talks about Professor X stuff.
Professor X stuff.
And he said that, and this could have changed, but he said that when he said this about a year and a half ago, he said he turned it down because of Logan. And, you know, he thought that was like the perfect end to that character. Now, I still don't think that completely kills the theory. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to him and somehow convinced him to do it. Or maybe Patrick Stewart. This is throwing this out here. I don't think this
Bring back Hugh Jackman and I'll do it.
I don't think this is what happened, but just throwing this out here. What if Patrick Stewart was purposefully misleading people? I don't think he would do that.
That seems to be your scapegoat for a lot of shit. You know, the Snyder Cut thing when I freeze framed the Cyborg shot. What if that's a fake out?
I think it is. I think that's a fake out. I still stand by that.
I don't like thinking that way. I don't like thinking fake outs because when you start diving down that, anything is possible. And,
I mean, it's also confirmed we're going to see four-armed Cyborg in the movie, so I don't know where else that would be.
Well, maybe somewhere in the rest of the fucking movie. I don't know.
Why would he all of a sudden have 4 arms and then not have 4 arms again? That's my question.
Well, he's not going to always just have 4 arms constantly. Right?
Right.
So why would he need 4 arms just in that one shot?
Because that's a nightmare. That's years in the future. You gotta have an upgrade.
Again, constantly. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We all have 4 arms. I have 4 arms right here. Thank you. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Patrick Stewart, number 1. Number 2, second Magneto.
Michael Fassbender.
Thank you.
I think it has to be someone from the X-Men movies.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have. Well, obviously it doesn't have to be. But
our minds are going that way because they brought back
Evan Peters.
Yeah, Quicksilver. So
I think it's very. There's something interesting to point out with Quicksilver here. They keep calling him Pietro. His name is not Pietro in the X-Men movies. That's his name in the comics and the MCU. In the X-Men movies, his name is Peter. His name is not Pietro. I thought that was just throw that out there. Also,
and it's still not explained. Like if what's her name, Agatha is manipulating this whole situation. Why would she bring back the other brother? Or
maybe she doesn't know.
Maybe
she doesn't know which one's which. Maybe she saw Quicksilver and just thought, "Hey, that's Quicksilver. Let's bring him in here." That's
which brings in the whole multiverse.
Yeah.
So maybe Wanda didn't do the multiverse. Maybe Agatha did.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. Also, on the
so Agatha's the true bad guy of Doctor Strange 2. But it's going to be disguised as Wanda. Got it.
If Agatha's in it, yes. I could actually totally see that happening. But, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. You know the Funko Pops? Like those little things?
The overpriced things with big eyes, yeah.
Yeah, those are ridiculously
priced.
priced.
Although my birthday is coming up, and there is a Funko Pop of Batman and Superman from Batman v Superman.
If there's a Nightmare Funko Pop, I want it. I don't even care for Funko Pops very much, but
neither do I. Dude, you're right. Nightmare Sequence Batman is the fucking coolest Batman so far, in my opinion.
But anyway, because they keep revealing Funko Pops for WandaVision every week, because they're there's like spoiler ones. Like, Quicksilver, but they revealed a Quicksilver Funko Pop. And it doesn't say Quicksilver. It says Pietro Maximoff, but it has quotations around it. It's like, yeah, we're going to tell you this is Pietro, but it's not. Now, that could simply mean...
They better bring back dude who played him in MCU. They have to... they can't do this. They cannot do this fully.
That would be funny. That would be so...
That's fucked up. They have to bring him back somewhere. Somewhere, at least a closing, sister, I love you.
I'm pretty sure
don't forget your accent.
I'm pretty sure Aaron Taylor Johnson even signed a multi-movie deal. So, getting rid of him and bringing in the other one is messed up, even though I do prefer Evan Peters' Quicksilver. But...
Well, only because we never really got a full flavor of the other one.
Yeah. I also like Evan Peters' Quicksilver a lot. He himself has one of the coolest scenes in a comic book movie in one of the worst comic book movies. I'm talking about X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, Apocalypse?
Apocalypse is terrible.
Where they just redid what he did in is it Days of Future Past?
Yes, except it was still cool.
But not cooler than what he did in Days of Future Past.
I didn't say it was cooler.
Well, you said it was one of the best.
It is.
There's only 2.
Yeah. I said one of the best scenes in a comic book movie in general. I didn't mean one of the best Quicksilver scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But in general, I think that's a really cool scene in both movies. I do prefer the one from Days of Future Past, but the one from Apocalypse is also the only good part of the movie. So maybe it just stands out in that sense.
That movie, except for...
Yeah, I wish I didn't.
Except for Caliban. I remember him being in that movie.
That's weird that you remember that. He was in the movie for 4 minutes. I remember you only remember that because he was in Logan.
Yeah. That's the only reason, because I saw Logan first, I think.
Yeah.
before I saw Apocalypse.
I had no interest in watching Apocalypse, and then I did, and now I still have not seen Dark Phoenix.
I think Apocalypse deserves a rewatch, and I think Dark Phoenix you should see.
I'll watch them. I just don't wanna.
I think we should do a review series. X-Men.
Oh man, there's so many.
So, should we watch them in release order, or the
Yes.
nightmare that is considered their continuity?
Release order, absolutely release order. I will not watch that in their so-called chronological order. It makes no sense. Dark Phoenix takes place in what, the 90s, I think? And what? Go down to Michael Fassbender's Magneto. That
I
shot
get
is
it.
from Days of Future Past,
Which
but
is 99.
he still looks the same.
Yeah.
And then what? It's supposed to
Or
be
not Days of sorry. You got Ian McKellen. That's 99 or
Yeah.
2000 or whatever.
that's like either way it's early 2000s, less than 10 years
He
after.
he aged 40 years in 10 years. Yeah, got it.
It's just I'm not watching that in chronological order. I'm sorry.
It would almost be fun to watch it in chronological order, just to
Part of me is actually kind of wanting to now, just because it would be ridiculous.
Just to highlight how much of a clusterfuck that actually is.
Technically, if you watch it in chronological order, though, there's a movie that you don't really watch, and that's Last Stand. Because if you go by continuity, chronological order, Last Stand never happened. Because they do it, somehow they flopped one story twice in the same franchise, but in Last Stand, it's just early 2000s Dark Phoenix. It's the same plot. It's the same story that I'm once again saying they somehow failed twice. How did they fail that twice?
I don't think they failed it.
Nope, not many people like Last Stand, and I'm not going to act like I've seen Dark Phoenix.
I don't think Last Stand is a bad movie. I don't think it was great, but it wasn't a bad movie. It's not as bad as you're making it out to be. I will say that probably the worst movie in that entire fucking series is X-Men Origins. Wolverine, that was supposed to be a whole series, and I think that was probably the precursor to, First Class, because First Class is just like, oh, X-Men Origins, Eraser. You mean X-Men First Class? Okay,
the one where Wolverine was in it.
We're just gonna give everyone an origin story at once now, instead of single movies per person.
Yeah,
but but.
Thinking about Deadpool. Oh my god.
But then when they came out with the Wolverine, that was good.
That is a good movie.
And then Days of Future Past followed that, which was really fucking good.
I haven't watched Days of Future Past in a while.
That's such a fun movie. And the shit that pisses me off, this continuity bullshit, is they never explain how Wolverine has his metal claws back. That just drives me fucking nuts.
I hate when they just don't explain things, especially huge things.
He has bone claws at the end of the Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then metal claws in Days of Future Past. No explanation.
I hate when movies do that. And I'm going to at first use TASM, The Amazing Spider-Man. I'll say TASM. I'm going to use TASM 2 as an example. Because they switch suits. But that's not like a huge thing. Like
that's not a continuity error.
That's not a continuity error. And I'll tell you
but they don't explain it.
They don't explain it. It would have been nice to
and they don't explain
but
Superman's suit change from Man of Steel to BVS. Hopefully the Snyder Cut will explain that.
I'm pretty sure there's a scene where he's like going through his ship and there's like a ton of suits lined up.
I will only accept that if both BVS and Man of Steel suit are in there.
And then he goes to the one from Justice League. But
in the Snyder Cut, that suit doesn't actually exist. That would be the black suit.
I know. I was joking. But
which makes sense. God, Sorry.
I love the black suit. Looks so good.
Remember how I told you how disappointed I was about Superman's suit? Not because Justice League or nothing like that. I was so mad that Zack Snyder would approve that suit.
We were even talking about it before we knew what they were doing with the black suit.
Yeah, we didn't even know.
We were talking about it because we were like, no matter what happened with Justice League, this was a Zack Snyder thing.
Yeah.
This suit was a Zack Snyder thing. But somehow he still made it work.
Well, and what I read was that was his plan. He said, Warner Brothers was telling me that I couldn't do the black suit. So I chose a suit that would look good if I changed the color.
That's smart. That's smart.
This is what prophecies come from. Like these are this is mythological, like, stories passed down type of shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, we were talking about X-Men. We ended up on the Snyder Cut. My bad. So, the Superman, Spider-Man suit, the suit changes. Yeah.
But there's something else that I was going to bring up that really bothers me. They do it. The other night, this is the only MCU movie I hadn't seen before. I watched it for the first time the other night.
Iron Man 3?
It was Iron Man 3.
Yep.
That movie, I think the movie is really good.
You watched that the other night? Mm-hmm. That's funny because I watched Iron Man 1 and 2 the other night.
Nice. But I watched Iron Man 3 for the first time the other night, and I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a really good movie until I thought about it, because I like the things in it, but nothing that happens in that movie matters ever again.
No,
they
does.
never talk about anything that happened in that movie.
They do in Infinity War. They do bring it up a little bit when Pepper, she's like, well, if you loved me or whatever, you wouldn't have done that. And he's like, this is just the housing unit. He's like, the thing is, it's gone. It's just the housing unit. It's, like, just in case it's something in the closet, or whatever.
Yeah.
In case there's something in the closet besides, shirts or whatever cute line they say.
Yeah.
That's the little mention that they make that kind of bridges 3 in there. The fact that they do acknowledge that he did get rid of that and replace it with what's a housing unit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
But I still don't like it because they took forever to talk about it. And quits being Iron Man.
Yeah.
He quits the whole thing. And then what's his next movie? Age of Ultron. He's just Iron Man again. And that bothers me.
Sure is. Well,
if they would have at least maybe had like...
But what's he doing in Age of Ultron?
I haven't seen that.
What type of Iron Man is he? Is that the one?
That's the one with Ultron.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, he's straight up Iron Man. That's the one that starts out with language, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He's
just Iron Man
from the beginning. Yeah, you're right.
That was his next appearance after Iron Man 3. And Iron Man 3, I think this might be what you guys call a hot take, but Iron Man 3 he shouldn't have come back after that movie. And I'm saying that because the movie clearly shows that the plan was to retire the character there. And not only does the movie show that, but we know that for a fact. His contract was done after Iron Man 3. The movie came out, and that was it. That was supposed to be his last movie. At least...
Well, they rewrote a contract, obviously.
Yeah.
The contract being, you won't do a solo movie anymore. But we'll still, what I'm assuming here, we'll pay you the same if you return as this character.
That's probably how they offered it to him after, but I think he was moving on. Like,
it was done.
That movie tied everything up with him. Like that, there were no loose ends there.
Yeah, no.
Except with Rhodey, which
where
there was a Rhodey movie in development.
Which Rhodey could have moved on to fill the space of everything else.
Right. That would have started the the new Avengers, that you would have brought in Rhodey to replace Iron Man, and then eventually you'd bring in Sam for Captain America. You'd bring in, what's her face? They're bringing in for Black Widow. I can't remember her name right now, but she's being introduced in Black Widow. But you could have started that there, and, they're bringing in She-Hulk to the MCU. That would have started that, and
How would that would have started?
That would have started like the new generation of Avengers. Is them replacing Iron Man.
But the Avengers, there was a lot of stuff going on there. Like this whole universe thing wasn't a thing yet. It was a new thing. So you do a trilogy, you end a fucking character. That's what you do. You move on with your life.
Yeah.
Or you leave it open for more movies to continue. They decided to close the character because it was a new thing. Like, now in this whole spectrum of universe, nobody dies. The things will always continue on. Robert Downey Jr. will be back. Captain America will be back. They will be back in the MCU. I will put money on it.
I think Cap will.
I think Robert Downey Jr. will.
I could see him coming back for...
He's already been back. He died, and he was in the next MCU movie with Sony. Spider-Man.
That doesn't count.
It's an audio cameo.
And
how does that not count?
When was his audio cameo?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, when in the movie? What did he say?
He was like the kid, these glasses, fucking whatever. I don't remember. He was in the movie. Like, he said things. You heard him talk, right?
Yes, with old footage. That doesn't count. It was stuff from Civil War.
Right.
Because they
I
talked
didn't know
about
that.
They talked about how
I thought you recorded that shit.
Not for Far From Home. They were talking about in the movie how Mysterio became a supervillain because Tony Stark called his glasses barf, and that was it. That he said that in the movie, but that was audio from Civil War, where he just goes, talking about them, and he calls them barf. And I guess that was a supervillain origin story. That was literally his
origin story for a supervillain.
I still think Mysterio has one of, if not the coolest design. He looks really good. And I don't mean the motion capture suit. I mean the actual fishbowl-like suit.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to dismiss you. I felt like we just went down a giant rabbit hole there.
We're not done.
Oh boy.
Iron Man 3 was supposed to lead into a Rhodey movie that they eventually canceled. But now Rhodey's getting his own series on Disney Plus.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. They announced
with Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle, yeah.
No,
they announced a ton of stuff a few months ago.
How do you think dude from Iron Man 1 feels about that?
Man, I feel bad. I think he actually would have been a decent
I like him.
War Machine.
I like him. I don't think... Why did he leave? Because he left. He chose to leave.
I think...
It was money.
It was about money. I don't... He wasn't getting paid enough, or they didn't pay him as much as anyone else, or they weren't going to. Something like that. I don't know the specific details of it, but it definitely had something to do with money.
Yeah.
And so he left.
He missed out on a lot of money.
He did.
But that's a gamble you take in Hollywood, I imagine. So, so War Machine movie or a series coming out that do you think they're going to steal the same storyline that they were going to use for the War Machine movie?
I don't think so, because it wouldn't really make sense. Because the way the War Machine movie was supposed to go, because it was supposed to be right after Iron Man 3. Because if you remember, the end of the movie, someone hijacks the War Machine suit, or the Iron Patriot in that movie, the Iron Patriot suit, and starts killing like everyone. The public thinks that's Rhodey. He's being chased down by the government. That's
never talked about again.
That's what the movie was going to be. It's him being chased down because they thought it was him in that suit, killing everybody. Well, they're not doing that. They can't do that now. I think it's a little late to do that, but
yeah.
And plus, that we don't know like anything about it. They were very vague when they announced it. They said it just sounds like every Iron Man story we've ever heard. They said it's about what happens when Tony Stark's Iron Man stuff falls into the wrong hands, and it's like, oh, that's a first. Never seen that story happen like 4 times.
Yeah, that's pretty much every time.
That's basically every Iron Man
that falls
villain.
back onto the whole theory that Iron Man is pretty much the bad guy in all these movies. Like his tech is the bad guy.
Yeah,
and in 1, 2, and 3.
And Age of Ultron.
And Age of Ultron, like, which is why I thought it was funny in Infinity War. He's like, what was it that Bruce Banner said to him? There's that line. He's like, "Oh, you lost another." I can't remember the fucking line. You lost another like super fucking.
I can't. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
But yeah, Tony Stark is to blame for a lot of the issues. I mean, he is his technology is he's the bad guy. He's pretty much the bad guy, and it's such a cool storyline for a character. Like, hey, I created this not only to save my life, but I tried to get rid of war. And I only created more. I only created more weapon.
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted to stop making weapons, and I ended up making the world's greatest. That's such a cool storyline. And you could really end the Iron Man series at Iron Man 2 for sure. And then just cut out Iron Man 3 and bridge the gap and watch the rest of the movies.
They're doing a lot of series. They're moving ahead with 2 Iron Man-ish series, one of which being the Don Cheadle War Machine show, which is called Armor Wars.
By the way, I just want to mention how much I love that guy's name, Don Cheadle. Sounds like a cartoon character. No offense, but I just like saying it. Go ahead.
Funny. He's a cartoon character. He's in Space Jam 2.
Neat.
So
I've never seen Space Jam 1, and I grew up in the 90s. Yeah.
All right, never mind then.
I'm the one.
I've seen Space Jam.
Have you?
I have.
I've never seen Space Jam.
I don't think it's that great. I can see why people would love it for like childhood nostalgia, but watching it for the first time when I was 16, I wasn't too impressed.
I feel like Space Jam was just Roger Rabbit for people who like sports.
That's exactly what it was, except it wasn't like adult, basically. Roger Rabbit was very adult for a PG movie.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, they're doing 2 different Iron Man-ish series, one of which, like I said, is Armor Wars, which is the one starring Don Cheadle. And they're moving ahead with Ironheart, which is her name is Riri Williams, and she's like Iron Man, and
His daughter?
No.
Okay.
She's like the new Iron Man, and that's weird to me.
I just had this vision go through my head, like a Batman beginning sort of thing, but like not so meaningful. She just like falls down a hole and finds all of like the suits that fell into the water. In Iron Man 3. She's like, oh, what's this do? Oh, all of a sudden, how to work this.
I have no problem with the character. I don't like that they're moving ahead with it so fast. Because it's just like Iron Man. It sounds like...
That's how I feel about the entire MCU in Disney Plus world.
Because they talk about her and they're like, oh yeah, she's like the smartest, person since Tony Stark. Or smartest tech genius since Tony Stark. It's like, well, Tony Stark was alive a year ago. Like, that's not like... If it had been like 10 years since
And
Tony
Peter
Stark...
Parker's like...
If it had been like 10 years since Tony Stark died, then like even in universe, that would make more sense. But it hasn't been very long since Tony Stark died.
Right.
Like, that's not like a huge thing to me. It's just like, oh, she's the smartest person since Tony Stark. It's like, well, Tony Stark was alive like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Well,
So-
she's the smartest person in 6 months. So, here's a suit.
It's just, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be good, but
I mean, again, that also dismisses Peter Parker completely. Even though they were trying to make Peter Parker like Iron Man thing, and then I think the whole Sony deal. Remember when they backed out and Sony's like, "Hey, fuck y'all, we
Yeah.
got Spider-Man."
Sony's tricky. They were tricky in that situation, and they weren't in the wrong
They
either.
weren't tricky. Disney was being tricky. Sony was trying to play ball. And then Sony saw Disney being tricky, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll take this little slice of pie away. What you got?" And like, well, we got the smartest girl since Tony Stark. Like,
I love how that was them taking away Spider-Man was completely Disney's fault. I still think Sony was completely in the right in that situation.
Absolutely,
because
100%.
Because Disney was getting, I think Disney was getting paid like 5, maybe 10% of the box office that the Spider-Man movies were getting, which, for not owning the character is not bad.
Right.
But they went to Sony and they were like, we want to split it in half. We want half. And Sony was like, no, and just took it away. They were just like, we're not doing that.
Ridiculous. That was one of the best bitch slaps. Like, that was like such like a comforting slap. Like when they did that, everyone was like, slow applaud, good for you, Sony. Like, that was a very solid move. Because at the time it's like fucking Disney's like, well, we want it, we're gonna have it, or else, or else Sony, and Sony's like, okay, then we'll stop giving you Spider-Man at the climax of when you need him.
Yeah, that was like the killer move right there. Is like, oh yeah, we just set up Spider-Man to be a huge part of this franchise. Yeah. We're just gonna take him away from you.
See,
if you want to act like
Disney
this.
put Sony in check. Sony put Disney in checkmate.
Sony got what they wanted out of this.
I think Sony got what they deserved. I think they were getting what they wanted. But then when they tried to want more, Sony got what they deserved.
I think they
which was Disney not getting what they wanted.
Disney, they did raise the percent that Disney gets paid. It's not 50. I think they raised it to 25%.
Okay.
So that's not like a terrible thing. It's less than what Disney wanted.
That's a negotiation.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You notice how Sony has their universe that they are trying their best to build. Their solo Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man.
And they got hit so hard with COVID.
They did. That sucks because I'm actually excited
like
for
Morbius
Venom
and Venom are just like sitting in this pot stewing. Hopefully they're using this time to edit and re-edit and review and make it just
make
just
the
hone it.
CGI like top tier.
Just hone the story exactly where it should be.
I know, but like when they got back with Disney and like they started to become friends again, notice how right after that things between the two universes started to tie in. You see the Easter eggs in Morbius, and not only do you see the Easter eggs, but the end of the trailer having Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
They're tying this in directly. And there's the heavy rumor, it's not confirmed, but there's the heavy rumors that Tom Holland has a cameo in Venom 2.
Hopefully.
I think that was a Disney, not Disney. I think that was a
no,
Sony
but then
thing.
there's
I think
Spider-Man 3.
I think
That's going to blow the lid off a lot of shit.
We can get to Spider-Man 3 in a second, but I think that's something Sony wanted is, oh yeah, we'll give your character back if you tie it all in. If you make our universe part of the MCU. What?
Sorry, I just looked at the time.
Oh, I thought it was 11 like 10 minutes ago.
I have to be up 7 hours.
All right then. But I think that was a Sony thing. Like, yeah, if you tie our universes in and lower your, how much you want, then we'll give him back. And I think that's part of that deal. Because I don't think before that they were planning on tying anything in.
What a unique world we live in for movie viewers. This is really like the first studio to studio merger of this sort. The first example of this would have been when, when Hulk was, became this main character in Marvel, but still owned by Universal. And Universal hasn't made a fucking movie. They're sitting back collecting that Marvel cash,
Yeah.
And then they did that same deal with Spider-Man. Oh, we'll bring him over, but we're not allowed to make a solo movie with him. But now they've made it to where they can leak what's happening into the MCU into Sony. And dude, Sony won out on this deal so well.
They did.
They're like, you know what? Yeah, we'll give you an extra 10, 15%. And then we're just going to pluck your characters. Which actually are characters. Well, actually yours, but, we own Spider-Man. Like, what Sony knew. I wonder how much money they've been offered to sell Spider-Man to Disney.
Probably a lot.
I wonder how much I wonder what the maximum they've turned down is.
It's probably a big number.
I would say double-digit billions for sure.
I don't know if it's that much. Well, I guess maybe. They
I'd say
spent like $70 billion on Fox.
It has to be double-digit billions.
And they haven't budged.
I would say like somewhere between, I would say confidently somewhere between $10 to $25 billion just to have Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's. Let's talk about Spider-Man 3 for a second here, and the confirmed characters. And I'm not including the rumored ones in this list. These are characters we know for a fact will be in this movie. Obviously, Spider-Man, but Doctor Strange. Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro, and Alfred Molina is coming back as Doc Ock from the original Spider-Man trilogy.
I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about Jamie Foxx.
I am.
Even though I love Jamie Foxx Electro.
I'm excited about that because they're changing it.
I'm not excited because they're changing it.
He's not blue.
I like the blue.
I did too, but
I didn't just like the blue, but I like the all the like electrified like veins like you could see in his skin. Like I just hope they don't completely fucking change that character to like, oh yeah, multiverse. I'm yellow and different now. Like,
I think
I didn't give a shit about Jamie Foxx playing that character. I liked everything about that character that was encapsulated around Jamie Foxx.
I have a theory with these characters, these returning characters, and that's I don't think they're from their universes. I don't think that we're going to get Doc Ock from the Raimi movies. I don't think this Electro is going to be the same Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I think this is the MCU's version of those characters played by the same actors. And that would completely explain why Electro is going to be so different. He's not going to be blue, and I can guarantee his electricity is going to be yellow. He'll probably have a green costume if they give him a costume.
Just explain it.
They will. They don't need to explain that, though. If it's multiverse, then yes, they'll need to explain it. But if it's not multiverse, then they can just say, no, this is the MCU's version of the characters. It's as simple as that.
They need to explain it. If there's one thing I'm done with, it's movies not explaining continuity. If they bring on Jamie Foxx, he's a multiverse character. Okay. Obviously, we're going to see Michael Keaton reprise his role in the Flash movie. And we're going to see Ben Affleck reprise his role.
Yeah.
But what if we saw Ben Affleck in a Michael Keaton suit with no explanation? That's the shit I don't fucking want. I don't want to see the same actor playing a different fucking character, but the same fucking character. You know, I don't want to see that without a good explanation.
That's just my theory. We have no indication whether it's one or the other.
I'm just expressing my opinion based off your theory.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're doing here. But like, I think what I just said is probably the best example of why I would not want that to happen. You show me Ben Affleck in Michael Keaton's suit with no explanation, you're going to piss me the fuck off. And I'm going to blame Warner Brothers, because right now, Warner Brothers is to blame for everything that happens shitty with DC.
Are we going back to DC now?
No, I just wanted to put that out there. That's a thing. It's always going to be a thing.
There's a ton of... We still don't know the title of this movie, Spider-Man 3. We know it'll have Home in the title. This will probably be referred to as the Home Trilogy, with Homecoming, Far From Home, and whatever this next one is called. There's a ton of theories as to what it could be called, obviously.
What do you think it's going to be called?
I think it's going to be called Homeworlds. Because I think it's going to deal with the multiverse. Whether these specific versions of the characters are from the multiverse or not, I think we are going to get multiverse in this movie. I think it'll be called Homeworlds.
That just seems like you just threw home in there.
And it's better than the other titles I have written down, which are not ones that I want or think it will be. Homesick, Home Run, and these are just some random ones I've seen people throw around, by the way. Homesick, Home Run, Home Sweet Home, and No Place Like Home. I can't think of a better title
Home
than
Run would be the
Homeworlds.
best one out of all of those. I think Home Run could be... I think that could be twisted enough to, like he's trying to run back home. I think that's the closest one. I'm going to throw out there Homeboys.
How would that make sense?
You know, just hanging out with my boys from other dimensions.
I saw someone say it should be called Homies. And I was like, come on, man. No. What if they do this? What if they announce it to have one title? Because Homeworlds is a spoiler title. That explains why they wouldn't reveal it yet. If the title ends up being Homesick, it's like, why didn't you reveal that a long time ago? That's not a spoiler title. But if it's Homeworlds, that's not like that's a spoiler title. That's clearly like multiverse stuff. What if they announce the title as something else? Home Run, Homesick, whatever it may be, and then announce it as Homeworlds. Now, that might sound ridiculous, but they've done it before with Captain America. They announced the third Captain America movie to be called Serpent Society, which is based on a comic. And then they were like, oh, surprise, by the way, it's not actually Serpent Society. we're adapting Civil War.
Oh, well, there's a reason for that. That's beyond just changing
It was in the
the
same
name.
presentation.
Oh.
They announced it as Serpent Society, and then at the end of the presentation, they were like, "Oh, by the way, it's not actually Serpent Society; it's Civil War." I know
That's
that was
dumb.
that was a petty thing, by the way, Civil War, but
Oh,
That's a whole-
trying to compete with BVS.
yep, putting it on the same date as BVS, and then BVS moving, yeah, that's a whole thing. But there's also a ton of rumored people for Spider-Man 3, and these aren't like big sources. These aren't sources that are like Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, but these are like insiders, people who put out this information. They don't put it out like, oh yes, this is happening. They put it out as like, hey, this is what I heard. That doesn't mean it's 100% true. If it's 100% true, they usually say when it is, but these are the two most reliable people I know. I don't know myself, but these are the two most reliable people I know in that group. Their names are Daniel RPK and Charles Murphy. They will report on things, and they've been right quite a few times. More than
not to
others.
be confused with Charlie Murphy.
Right. But they've been right quite a few times, and usually looked at as the most reliable ones. They've said that Daredevil will be in this movie, and not only will Daredevil be in it, but Charlie Cox has already finished filming his scenes for the movie.
I'm so excited for that. That makes my heart happy.
I see that being very likely, and not just because they said it, and I think that makes it more likely, but just Kevin Feige was doing a ton of interviews like a few months ago, and all anyone wanted to talk about was Daredevil. Okay.
It will cut off in 4 minutes.
Oh, all right. All anyone wanted to talk about was Daredevil, and there was one guy who was like, people love Charlie in the role of Daredevil, and because they just got the rights back to Daredevil, the character. He was like, oh, everyone loves Charlie in the role of Daredevil, people would love to see him back, and Kevin Feige just doesn't say anything. He just sits there and just nods his head. He just doesn't say anything.
He's such a mysterious character.
Like straight face, he's not smiling or anything. He's just, just nodding.
So why do you think he was just nodding off? Like why would Kevin Feige seem so distant from somebody bringing up something like that, and then it later happened? Like, do you think Kevin Feige just doesn't know how to people well, or what?
I think he knew exactly what he was doing. Whether he's in Spider-Man 3 or not, they have a plan for Daredevil. That would be a bad idea to not bring him back. People loved Daredevil. People loved Charlie as Daredevil. People love the character of Daredevil. It would be just dumb to not bring him back. It'd be a missed opportunity. And Spider-Man 3, I think, is the perfect place to do it. Because, well, Spider-Man 3 had his entire identity revealed. People are going to be after him.
There's still that situation we have to deal with.
People are going to be after him.
Do you think he'll be back as a multiverse character? Or do you think they're actually going to tie it in to the MCU, like this universe that we know? Because
I think
theoretically, the Netflix series was supposed to take place in the MCU. They did mention, a thing, the Avengers and shit like that.
I think they will pick and choose certain things to keep canon. I don't know if they'll bring it all in. That will make things. They don't have to
bring it all in.
They don't have to.
No, the MCU has to. They're not Fox. They're not gonna pick and choose like, well, this part of Daredevil is canon, but this part of Daredevil is not. Is that what you mean? Pick and choose? No, that I don't see that happening. I don't think that's smart. That doesn't make sense. If you're gonna go in and make this canon, then you're going to figure out a way to make this fucking canon. Now, the show was distant enough and made enough references to where it could easily fit in. The only issue would be, like, and I wouldn't even call it an issue, is all Spider-Man has to do is mention Hell's Kitchen. Because that's pretty much where Daredevil took place. Now, I haven't watched the series in a while. I can't quite remember exactly, but, where his, area was. But for the most part, it was in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And, I don't see them bringing him into the MCU being a problem.
It's just a guess, I guess. I mean, either way, I think he's coming back. And I think it's going to be in Spider-Man 3. And I think he's going to not be Daredevil. I think he's going to be the Matt Murdock. He's going to be the lawyer, Matt Murdock. I think he's going to be Peter's lawyer for,
But, okay, so you're saying that he might be Peter's lawyer, but this would he's still Daredevil. Like, it's it's not a prequel to Daredevil.
Right. It's not like they're bringing him in and like, oh no, he's not Daredevil. He's never been Daredevil. He's still going to be Daredevil. I don't think he will be Daredevil in the movie, if that makes sense. I don't think he'll wear the costume. I just think
he has to. You cannot play that fan service that close to the chest and not bring out something.
I think there's one situation where I can see that happening, and that's he'll be a lawyer for most of the movie, if not like all of the main movie that he's actually in. He'll be a lawyer. I could see a post-credits scene showing him. It may be in costume or maybe looking at a costume, and then it'll cut to black. It'll say Daredevil will return.
Fair enough. I see that, and I raise you something. This also keeps him out of the suit.
All right.
He plays, the lawyer. Something happens in public, and he makes this like extravagant move, does something. Peter Parker picks it up with his spidey sense, almost in slow-mo, what he does. He has to pull some Murdoch shit. He has to pull some Daredevil shit off in this movie. Let it be huge or not so huge, but it's not going to be small, like, Daredevil will be back. Even though Marvel has done that before. But now they're playing into fan service here. Obviously, they're trying to play catch up with this Flash movie. DC already put the gauntlet down. We started the multiverse back in, on the CW when we brought our Flash in.
Yeah.
So DC's already started their multiverse. So Marvel, for the first time, is behind, at least on screen. Even though they're way behind when Snyder decided to do BVS. Anyway, so he's definitely going to do some Michael Murdock Daredevil shit. Did I say that right?
Michael Murdock? Matt Murdock.
Fuck. For like the 50th time, I suck at names. Matt Murdock. He's going to do some Matt Murdock Daredevil shit. And I think at least if they're not going to put him in the suit, he's going to do something, and Spider-Man's going to see it with his spidey sense that something just happened and connect dots, and then they might do that whole Daredevil will be back thing at the end. Mid or end credits. So
I hope he's in it. I think it's very likely that he's in the movie.
Who's all supposed to be in that movie now?
Confirmed or rumored?
Let's start with confirmed and go from there.
All right, so major characters: Spider-Man. They're bringing back Zendaya as MJ. Ned, his friend. They're bringing back.
He's back.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay.
Flash Thompson.
Neat.
It's just, Peter's friends. It's not surprising that they're coming back, to be honest. Aunt May, obviously.
I will say that they've really kind of fucked up the whole Flash character. I understand why, but they have. Aunt May, got it.
Doctor Strange, Electro, and Doc Ock. That's everyone who's confirmed that we know for a fact will be in this movie. And then there's like
Which movie comes out first? Spider-Man 3 or Doctor Strange 2?
Spider-Man 3. As of now. Unless they end up delaying it. Which I hope they don't. Because as of now, Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out this year. So I'm hoping they don't delay that. But we'll see.
This year? This year?
Mm-hmm.
No teaser yet?
I mean, December. But
still.
it's February. Like
I know, but still. Usually a solid, quick teaser shows up a year before the movie.
Sometimes. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Still 11 months away. But
Just saying. Yeah, he set an expectation.
But
I'll tell you this. When it comes to, let's compare the movies the way they need to be compared. I mean, The Flash and this movie, really just diving deep into the multiverse. And they sound very similar, bringing back characters from previous franchise or universes. I'm still more excited for The Flash.
I'm more excited for Spider-Man. I'm not going to lie. I'm more excited for Spider-Man.
Why?
Because it sounds so cool.
Michael Keaton, Batman.
He's not that good of a Batman.
But he...
I don't
thank
mean...
you for joining us
Hold on,
for our podcast, everybody. We'll have a good evening.
Let me
I
explain.
got to reprimand my child real quick.
Let me explain. I do not mean performance-wise. I mean writing-wise. He's not good. A good Batman. He's the same throughout everything. He never changes. There's no such thing as character development for him. He's the exact same as when he's both Batman and Bruce Wayne. And he doesn't change. They're both movies. And usually you can be like, oh, well, people like that. But, like, nothing changes at all. He stays the exact same through both movies. As both Bruce Wayne and Batman. He is the same guy.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I'll give you that. But I will also...
I still love the movies, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
I will also say that at that point in time in movie making, the fact that those movies were so dark was the niche that they had. Those movies being that dark was the new thing. Batman wasn't dark. The only Batman representation that we had before that was fucking Adam West.
You got a problem with Adam West? Huh?
Well, in my it's funny how this is turned around, because what you sound like to me is probably what I sound like to people who love Adam West. Like, hey, listen, I like the things, but fuck this guy.
Wait until people find out I don't really like Christian Bale as Batman.
He's okay. But like, if they said he was going to come back, I'm like, neat, sweet.
Michael
okay.
Keaton would have me way more excited than Christian Bale.
Right. But Michael Keaton Batman may be more nostalgic for me. But I'll tell you what, man, that is super nostalgia. Like, that is the epiphany of Stevie Cade loving cinema. That and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those two movies are why I love fucking movies. Okay? But
trust me, I have a lot of nostalgia for those Batman movies too, especially Batman Returns. I watched that more than
even more
anything
so
else.
with Batman and Robin. That's your nostalgic movie.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have a lot of nostalgia for that movie.
You forced me to watch that movie. Oh,
That was your fault. Okay, story time. I think it was my 6th birthday, maybe 7th at the most.
I don't think it was your birthday.
Well, birth
Weekend
time.
or something like
birth
this.
week, something around there. It was after my birthday, and I went over, and I think I was turning 6 or 7, and you bought me a small box set that had Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. And, you had me open other presents, and you were like, save that one for last. And then I opened it, and that was what it was. And you were like, we're going to watch one of these tonight, and we're going to order pizza, and you get to choose. I have never seen a more disappointed face than when I looked at him and said, I want to watch Batman and Robin. I was 7, and he looked at me and said, can you choose a different one? Now, I want to throw out there, I had never seen Batman and Robin. The only reason I wanted to watch it was because I thought Mr. Freeze was cool. No pun intended. I thought, because I
it was totally intended.
It was not actually, but I had seen, because I played the Lego Batman games, especially the first one when I was about that age, and I hadn't seen Mr. Freeze in live action yet. So I was like, I've never seen Mr. Freeze. I want to see Mr. Freeze. And when I tell you, I loved that movie when I watched it. It was incredible. Masterpiece. Cinema.
For years you thought that. For years. It took you...
I think I was about 11 when I started realizing
I was about to say, it was a good 7 years.
7 years. 7 to 11 is not 7 years.
Well, 6 to 7. Well, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a while. It was a lot longer than it should have been. But
like, these numbers are estimated here. But like, that night sucked. Not only was it the night that I realized just how terrible that movie was, and like, it's not to the point like when you and I watched it again, like, a year ago or so.
That was fun.
That was fun. It was funny. We could laugh at it together because it was so fucking ridiculous. We couldn't do that then. You were like, this is Batman, and I'm like, this is not Batman. And that's where we were. Not only that, but the pizza we ordered that night, remember?
It didn't show up.
2 hours. 2 fucking hours on like a 45-minute, like estimated time. It was just a bad night. It was a bad fucking, like, I'm sitting there like this whole time I'm like, oh man, hopefully this pizza gets here soon. And I was hungry. I think I smoked some pot or something. And like, we're just sitting there watching this fucking movie, and I'm just like, oh my God, this movie sucks. I'm fucking starving. This kid loves it. That makes it even worse. I can't even be like, hey, well, this movie sucks. Let's put in the other one, huh? No. You're like, yeah, Batman, Mr. Freeze, best Batman ever. And that was life for the next so many years. Like, we got in debates before we even started Film Trigger about how great you thought that movie was. It wasn't until, like, I think around 11, 12, something clicked in your head. You're like, holy shit. I see it now.
Have a confession?
You still love it.
I don't love it, but I do have a soft spot for it.
Well, yeah.
I can watch that movie. I'm not even going to lie.
See, that's where things evolved in the right direction for both of us. Like, I evolved to enjoy that movie for how bad it was, and you learned how not great that movie was and began to love it for that reason also. And that's where you and I have now this, like, bridged appreciation for what that movie is.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about?
Spider-Man.
Right. So how I'm looking more forward to the Flash than Spider-Man, and you are apparently vice versa.
Yes, I am. Maybe it's just because I'm like into the MCU right now with Wanda Vision, and in a few weeks we're getting Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
I haven't even seen a trailer. I haven't watched a trailer for that at all.
There's like 3 trailers.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It comes out this the day after the Snyder Cut, and they air their stuff like
That's what they're putting up against the Snyder Cut?
no, Snyder Cut release date was announced after, but because like some people will stay up to watch these
I thought
Disney
you meant
Plus
like
shows.
they're being released one day apart?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so that's what they're putting up against the Snyder Cut.
I mean, I don't want to say that because the date for Falcon and Winter Soldier was revealed back in December. The date for the Snyder Cut was revealed, I think, in January, maybe even February.
But isn't the date important?
No,
It's not.
it's March 18th. There's not much to that date. There's nothing to that date, I don't think.
Okay.
But, yeah, some people will stay up to watch these Disney Plus shows because when they say they drop on Friday, they mean 3 a.m. on Friday. So, like, you know, if you stay up Thursday until 3 a.m., then you can watch it. So for some people, they'll say, oh, it drops, same day as Snyder Cut, which it doesn't.
March 20th. That's the day I was thinking. That's when Zack Snyder's daughter passed away.
Yeah, because I remember there were theories that that's when they would release the movie. But I personally thought it was going to be March 25th just because it would be the 5-year anniversary of Batman v Superman. I thought that would have been kind of cool. I guess March 18th works too, but cool. Yeah. So
I think I'm winding down here, buddy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I could keep talking.
I know. I want to keep talking, and the only reason why I need to stop is because I'll probably be up for at least 30 to 40 minutes after we're done.
You have things you need to do tomorrow, so
Normally I don't.
that's
but,
fine.
Normally I don't, but like here's the thing. Let me explain this. So like, I took on this new job, right? Where I do construction, which I've never fucking done before in my life. I've never done any of these things, but somehow, some way I seem to have a knack for them. Like I'm learning them really quickly.
Yeah.
And so this job that happens to be down the street from where we live is also the job that I've become a lead on. I'm a lead. I got a raise.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Getting this job done in the best way, in the most timely manner is really important.
Yeah.
And I don't have to work tomorrow, but I'm choosing to work tomorrow to get this job done for a customer. So normally I'm just letting you down, and I.
No, it's fine. It's
So
1 in
it's
the
okay,
morning
son.
anyway.
No, it's
So-
fine. No, it's fine, son. I'll let you down. I'm sorry. I have to make money. I know you want to sit here and talk about movies.
It's okay.
No,
I accept your apology. Just don't do it again.
Okay, listen. We've talked about a lot of subjects, though.
Yeah.
We've tapped a lot of shit, and maybe we'll do a part 2 to this. Maybe tomorrow night, because tomorrow night you got me all fucking night. We can just go on and on and on. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I know today.
I might not even release this until Sunday.
Today we had specific subjects to talk about. Tomorrow, we could just talk.
Yeah.
We could just talk about anything.
Yeah. So
I'm down for that.
Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe we'll put a pin in this conversation for now, and then I'll tack this on. So we'll stop it now, but you guys will hear us immediately come back in the next 12 hours or so.
Cool.
Wait. 17 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 hours is not that realistic. But
Well, in my world, I'm never up this late. now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm usually in bed by like 10 o'clock. So tomorrow's going to suck. But all right, then we'll do that. So put a pin in it. Where are we at on the conversation?
We've been kind of rambling about random stuff for the past hour and a half, but last real subject we talked about was Daredevil and Spider-Man 3.
Right.
We've been talking about Batman and Flash and
who's more happy about which movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, no, not just Daredevil and Spider-Man 3.
I'm Team Flash. You're Team Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
All right, gotcha. All right, we'll see you in about 5 seconds.